reachable by water or air. Nearly every home is damaged or destroyed, some torn from their foundations, floating away with people inside.
That's Chris Foster. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They say rates won't be going up as much. Mostly cloudy, 58 in downtown Indianapolis. We'll see some sun as the day goes on. The high in the low 70s today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. AES Indiana says this morning they have reached a partial settlement in the regulatory rate review to reduce their proposed increase. Instead of a rate hike that would raise electricity bills for Hoosiers by about $21 a month on average, the utility company says it would be for $10 more over 2 years if approved by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Again, that news announced by AES this morning. The Indianapolis Department of Metropolitan Development is approving a rezoning plan for construction of housing for homeless people. Lyndhurst Baptist Church on the city's west side and the nonprofit Sanctuary Indy are collaborating to build 10 duplexes for homeless individuals on property belonging to the church.
We are following a successful model that comes from other states, and other states are growing.
Michelle Shelburne, founder and executive director of Sanctuary Indy, told Wish TV that the plan is to build tiny homes first and then the duplexes, along with a community center by the year 2027. The director of student media at Indiana University is out over a dispute between university leaders and editors at the Indiana Daily Student.
The university has for a while been trying to control what the IDS publishes as part of its homecoming edition. They've tried to suppress anything except coverage of homecoming itself in that special edition.
Dominic Coletti is the program officer for FIRE's Student Press Freedom Initiative. He says Jim Rodenbush, as student media director, didn't control or decide what was published in the Indiana Daily Student. An IU spokesperson said in a statement that the campus is shifting resources to prioritize digital media over print. The average price of gas in the state of Indiana today, around $2.90 a gallon, says Gas Buddy. That's the average here in Indianapolis. And Colts quarterback Daniel Jones says part of why he's been able to find success so far this season is due to his offensive line.
Yeah, for sure. It helps just knowing and getting through progressions and knowing, you got time to find the guy. I think these guys have played incredible throughout the season against some good fronts and handled a lot of different stuff.
Jones is 7th in the league in passing yards and tied for 7th in rushing touchdowns. Indy is 5-1. They will visit the 4-2 LA Chargers this Sunday afternoon. Checking traffic this morning with Matt Baer.
Yeah, Jared, on the northeast side, northbound 69 at East 82nd Street. Cleanup on the jackknife semi-trailer continues, but all lanes have reopened. We are isolated to the left shoulder, and that should help traffic out to slow down back to 465. The exit ramp from northbound 465 to northbound 69 still closed to limit traffic into that area, backed up past Penn Pike almost to I-70. Eastbound 465 to northbound 69 has cleared out. Looking at northbound 465 on the east side, crash before I-70, no delay, little bit of a slowdown. Traffic sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance offers auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today. Again, that's progressive.com. I'm Matt Baer on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free. And no interest for 3 whole years. Restrictions apply. Call 317-659-7574. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
As we move into Thursday, we'll be cloudy to start, but by the afternoon, sunshine coming into full view. High temperature right around the 70-degree mark. No chance of rain, winds out of the east at 5 to 10. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Bruno Sudis, 493 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 9:06. Kendall and Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Oh, this is
going to come as a shock to all of you in listener land, but Joe Hogsett has stabbed the people of Indianapolis in the back. It's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Oh, boy, we got the perfect person with us today to talk about this because he knows energy. 30 years in the Indiana Senate, the great Jim Merritt.
And I know Hogsett.
You too. Weren't you guys like frat brothers?
We were fraternity brothers. Yep.
That's right. That's crazy.
We used to run together. We had we won the all-campus cross-country meet. He and I
this
and a
is
couple
at,
others.
This is
at Indiana University.
At IU, yeah.
Yeah. And SAE won it. We used to run together.
Now, think about how your lives, I mean, they were entwined through politics, but you became a decent, respected, esteemed member of society. And then there's
some people might argue about that.
You ain't Hogsett, no matter what. Okay, so the big news that came out yesterday, and by the way, Jesse Brown, member of the Indianapolis City County Council, is going to be with us at 9:30 to talk about this, and he is on a rampage, and he should be because this is disgusting. So it came out last night that Joe Hogsett, the city of Indianapolis, which is Joe Hogsett, let's call it what it is. The city of Indianapolis has struck a deal with AES, which is the major utility electric provider for the city of Indianapolis, that they will not object to AES raising rates, but just not by as much as they were going to raise the rate before. And this comes at a time, Jim, in which the governor has clearly stated that whoever he's going to appoint to this IURC, which we'll get to that later with you because you're on that board that's going to make some of those recommendations, his major driver is going to be no rate increases. He's got this new consumer advocate who's totally on the public side of no rate increases, and in fact is not only objecting to AES's proposed rate increase, but it said the rate should be lower. All the momentum is on the side of not having rate increases for consumers, and then the Hogsett administration goes in and cuts this deal. This is simply disgusting beyond belief, and it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. and Robert, thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning all. Everybody has to understand that energy is the center point of everything that we do, and energy and the rates, the power, and AES is in central Indiana, and I really find this hard to believe that they're cutting off the conversation when the governor appointed Abby Gray as a consumer counselor, and she made the bold pronouncement that she is against the AES increases, this rate case, and then the governor showed this emoji on social media of clapping, and he supported that.
Yeah.
So we're on each side of Market Street of Indianapolis. We've got two competing situations here, two competing viewpoints, and I'm just not. The devil's in the details, but shame on the Hogsett administration for not letting this play out with the IURC, with the consumer counselor, and it's just you just kind of wonder what's around the corner here.
Okay, so and by the way, Abdul has a pretty nice breakdown of all this over at indypolitics.org if you want to kind of read the ABCs of this. But basically, so kind of just reset. AES had proposed another big rate increase. They just had one at whatever it was, 18 months ago or something like that. They wanted another one. It's in front of the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. And now the IURC can still reject this. They can still say, no, City of Indianapolis. And by the way, there were other major players, utility users, mega companies that have signed on to this lowered rate increase agreement. But the IURC still has the final say. They have the ability to say, no, you guys have raised enough. We're done here.
Yeah, and the IURC does have I think they should play this out. They will play this out. We'll talk about this a little later, but the IURC is almost like a judicial. They're the judge. They make the decision. The consumer counselor has their part. And I'm not sure, you kind of wonder, Mayor Joe, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You've got a governor who campaigned on this, by the way, and won election, and he's got the ratepayers in his
he stabbed everybody in the back.
Yeah. I don't understand. One would think that there's something that the Hogsett administration knows that we don't know. But AES, which is a cash cow for, it's the old IPL.
About to be bought by BlackRock, too.
Well, yeah, and that gives me pause as well. If AES International, because this is an enormous global company,
right?
And they only have a couple of utilities, one in Ohio that's small, and then a couple down in California in the LA area. And this is a cash cow for AES International. And I've always had a problem because I had a district that's AES served. And if the wind blew in parts of the Geist area in Lawrence Township, they'd have brownouts. And they had a lot of service problems, and I'm just very concerned. The federal government comes involved here too.
This is a massive deal because it's a total betrayal of the people of central Indiana, of the city of Indianapolis. Now, just numbers-wise, according to Abdul, and this is what we're talking about, such a small drop in the bucket. People are still, according to Abdul, the average system-wide rate increase would still go up almost 5%. So we're not talking about a small number. And the total amount of revenue that AES is conceding here is $111 million. And they're still going to be generating almost $2 billion of new revenue. So, I mean, they got relatively nothing now. The city of Indianapolis is going to get a bunch of freebies out of this. So it's going to help them, like the city itself, the entity. So Jesse Brown will be with us at 9:30 from the City County Council to talk about this. He is very upset. So we'll do that. In the meantime, there's another scandal involving the Hogsett administration. It's a day that ends in Y. And I'm sure you saw, Jim, earlier this week, the big expose that Indy Star and Mirror Indy had.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah.
Very well written.
Peter Blanchard was involved in it. Tony Cook was involved in putting this together. Not the scandal, but the reporting on the scandal. About another thing involving Thomas Carl Cook, the right-hand man for years of the mayor, who then went on to work for a major law firm in the city of Indianapolis, and how Cook was involved in a romantic relationship with a woman in city government who was helping decide where city incentives went, and a lot of city incentives, at least according to their reporting, $80 million in city incentives were delegated to people that were clients of Thomas Carl Cook. So you had this woman making choices on where money went, incentives went, and she helped steer $80 million of incentives, according to this reporting, to clients of a guy she was involved in a relationship with.
And
unacceptable.
Very much so. And when people read this, they've got it's chock full of facts and what they've discovered. It happened, and it demeans the political process. It demeans government, and it just adds on to the fact that people don't trust government. The credibility of government is lower today than it was yesterday, and they did a very good job of writing this article, and the Indianapolis Star has kind of shied away from being critical of the Hogsett administration.
Not anymore.
The Joe people would disagree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, I want to get to this. So our friends over at Fox 59, Russ McQuaid was the reporter. He caught up with Hogsett. And we had Kev, they did a long piece over at Fox 59 news report around this. But here's a little montage of Joe Hogsett essentially telling Russ McQuaid, Fox 59, to kiss his butt cheeks and that there's nothing to see here with another scandal with Thomas Carl Cook.
Russ, I'm not going to speculate on personnel-related matters. There is absolutely no indication that anything inappropriate was done.
But you can decide as the city, you can have him at the table, but we're not going to do business with him.
Well, that's a matter of speculation, Russ, and I'm not going to comment.
He is such a liar.
Mm-hmm.
It does not appear, according to the Mirror Indy Star article, that the facts are in dispute on any of this. This guy, I mean, the text messages, et cetera, show there was something going on between these two. And this money went to these people who Cook was representing. For Hogshead acting like there's nothing to see here, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and, good on Russ McQuaid, one of our best in the media, and longtime media member, and very good at what he does. And, two, I'm surprised he could get Joe on the line here, because they keep him in a tube, and talking to the mayor is very difficult. And good on him, and kind of what a mishmash spaghetti bowl, and he really said nothing, which said a lot.
All right, let's take a break. Jim Merritt's in for Casey. When we come back, we'll get you up to date on the latest with the shutdown. Trump had some incredible audio about Chuck Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries appeared to be rapping at one point. We'll play all that for you next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
America has a new favorite beer. It's Mick Ultra. If you remember, Modelo was the #1 beer in America. They're blaming Trump. The Trump administration's immigration policies have affected its sales.
Come on.
At least Cracker Barrel came out and said, hey, we screwed up. We're going to go back to the way things were. Bud Light never did.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Well, the Fed just sounded the alarm. The stock market is dangerously overvalued. And if your retirement savings are tied up in the market, this could be the smart time to protect and grow your savings outside of Wall Street. Hey, one option gives you a 20% upfront bonus. It's got a competitive return that's averaged 10% annually for the last 10 years.
So here's the simple math. If you invest $200,000, you get an upfront $40,000 bonus. That's $240,000. That $240,000 could earn 10%, or $24,000 in the first 12 months. So in the first year, that original $200,000 could grow to $264,000. Get all the information from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. Call 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120. 648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's. But that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Indiana can count on.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Visit Sundown Gardens for 20% off interior fall decor and 50% off pottery. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street, Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti.
Yeah, good one, Kev. Hakeem Jeffries was rapping yesterday. We'll get to that in a second. It's a Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out. Jim Merritt in for Casey. So the shutdown, what are we? We're day 16. Ethan told me this the other day. It's easy to remember. October 1st was the shutdown, so today is the 16th, right? So we're day 16 of the shutdown.
You kind of wonder if we need a big government anymore.
Well, there's a famous episode of The Office where all the bosses are fired or quit or something, and Jim, one of the main characters, just looks at the camera and goes, "It's been several weeks, and everything's running fine. We just hire people that take pride in their work and just let them do their job. Everything will be fine."
That resonates here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we love this place because we never see or hear from anyone. Just keep making us money. Thanks. Anyway, so Hakeem Jeffries, he's the Democrat leader in the House. He had some big press conference or whatever you would call it. There were a bunch of Democrats standing behind him. I think it was on the Capitol steps. And at one point, it appears he started rapping during his comments. Take a listen.
Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have shut down the government 15 days ago, and they haven't done a damn thing since to try and reopen it. House Democrats are here, reporting for duty. We are ready, we are willing, and we are able to negotiate a bipartisan spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people. Reopen the government and decisively address the Republican health care crisis.
Is he talking to Chuck Schumer there?
Talking to himself.
I don't think he cares. It's like Joe Hogsett with the AAS
But we also need a common sense partner on the other side of the aisle. House Republicans shut the government down. Then they ran out of town. And for the last 3 weeks, they're nowhere to be found. What more can I say? You deserve better.
Yes.
I can almost see him talking with his hands like he does.
Yeah, at the end, he said the best part, and that's true for all of us. We deserve better. We deserve better than every single one of you people. Look,
he doesn't have credibility.
Well, there's nothing for him to discuss.
There's nothing for him to do.
The House has passed a budget.
Yes.
They have given it to the Senate. There's nothing to negotiate with you on, sir. Look, as bad as I think it is, the budget they passed, it's already been passed. You are irrelevant in this equation.
Irrelevant. That's exactly right. He has no relevancy to the issue other than, a bad rap. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's fun to make fun of him, but he has nothing to do with this. He ought to talk to Chuck Schumer about opening up the government because it's right there.
Jim, speaking of Chuck Schumer, not to be outdone, Donald Trump had some commentary about Chuck Schumer. This is one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. Take a listen.
And as far as the shutdown is concerned, this is a Democrat Schumer shutdown. And he's trying to do it to get relevance back into the party because he's a loser. I've known him all his life. He's always been sort of a loser, but an intelligent one. But I think he's losing IQ points with time.
Loser.
Yeah, he's always been a loser. An intelligent one, but a loser. But I think he's losing IQ points all the time.
Trump's funny.
But in all seriousness, right? This is like the world has to be looking at this and just laughing at our country where look at all the money we spend, the debt, $1 trillion annual deficits, and yet these people, it's never enough for them. It's never enough for them, Jim.
Yes, and we were talking about mayors being in charge of really public safety and just the rock bottom, the essentials, and that's what we want from our government, be it federal or local or state, is we want to be safe, we want to be educated, we want a way of life that we can be proud of, and being closed for 16 days, really, I mean, there's still people walking on Monument Circle and people are happy, and it's just we haven't really noticed out here in the Midwest that the federal government's closed. We're still safe.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, our old pal, Jesse Brown, socialist member of the Indianapolis City County Council. Hey, you say what you want about the guy's political leanings, but he speaks out for the people a heck of a lot more than most of those guys
He
up
speaks
there.
straight, no question about it.
And he is going to bring the smoke on Joe Hogsett signing off for the Hogsett administration or the city of Indianapolis, because they're pointing fingers at everybody now. Somebody in city government signed off on this deal that will allow the AES rates to continue to rise, and Jesse Brown not happy. He joins us next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
The most extraordinary thing a woman can do is let herself be human. We try to do it all, sure, but what if we're just not feeling it? Like when the fatigue hits, but you gotta bring snacks to the soccer game? Or when the laundry's piling up, but that hot flash says, too bad. We get it. Franciscan Health has care for extraordinary women who can do it all, but don't have to. Visit franciscanhealth.org/OBGYN today.
Of all the times to buy a new Lincoln, right now is the very best time at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months on 2025 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, or Aviator. Plus get a $1,000 Tom Roush Trade Assist bonus. So come get that new Lincoln from Tom Roush Lincoln, where our family's been serving yours for over 53 years.
Subject to credit approval. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete offer details. Offer ends 10/31/2025.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Look, switching point of sale systems is a total nightmare, right? But here's the thing. Shopify POS makes switching easier. A Shopify POS expert, a real human being, helps with setup and data migration. No need to be your own tech support, because with Shopify POS, you get support for free. You'll also get a free card reader and 25% off POS subscription fees. Switching your POS is easier with Shopify. Eligibility requirements apply. To learn more, visit shopify.com/switchnow. That's shopify.com/switchnow.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's unrivaled early payout offer. When you bet on a team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. Forget the final whistle and start counting that cash. Hold up. You get early payout on parlays, too.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Indiana. T&Cs apply.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
More are now back in Israel. Cloudy skies, 59 this morning in downtown Indianapolis. The high today, 71. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Israel receiving the remains of 2 more deceased hostages formerly held by Hamas. Spokesperson for the Israeli Prime Minister Shosh Bedrosian spoke with reporters calling for Hamas to return all of the dead hostages.
A callous, barbaric terror group is continuing to hold onto these bodies as their families innocently wait to give their loved ones a dignified Jewish burial.
As part of the deal, Israel has released hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The 20 remaining living hostages formerly held in Gaza by Hamas have returned to Israel as well. Vice President J.D. Vance is asked about a Republican group chat that has sparked some outrage.
The group chat involving members from several affiliates of the Young Republican National Federation included racist and anti-Semitic language and jokes about rape. It's received bipartisan outrage, with the Young Republican National Federation calling for those involved to step down after a Politico report exposed the group chat. But Vice President J.D. Vance says text messages from Democratic Virginia Attorney General nominee Jay Jones are far worse, and he refuses to join the pearl clutching.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz reporting. And the world's largest food company is cutting jobs. Nestle has plans to cut 16,000 of them, which is about 6% of its workforce. The workers are expected to be replaced partially by automation. Now your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. Stocks rising again today, up 83 points is the Dow to 46,253. The S&P 500 also in the green, 24 points, 6,671. And the NASDAQ is up 144 points to 24,745. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and at WIBC.com.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine by getting your nose and throat working with our unique Advent approach that you won't find elsewhere.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and you know that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
So the city went behind the back of the taxpayers and cut a deal with AES. What's it mean for you? Our next guest says nothing good, and he's upset. It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Jim Merritt's in for Casey. Joined in studio by Jesse Brown, member of the Indianapolis City County Council. Jesse Brown, hello.
Hey, Rob. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so you were the first person to speak up last night on this. We started the program talking about it, in which the city of Indianapolis teamed up with some other big-name companies.
That's right.
And has apparently cut a deal with AES where they said, we will accept a certain level of rate increase and not fight you in front of the IURC. And everybody it was like one of those press deals where you go, ooh, this is going to be bad for the consumer. You're speaking out against this. Why?
Well, so first, let's look at the status quo. How were your electric bills before this happened, right? I think anybody could tell you way too high.
Yeah, AES just had a big rate increase, right?
That's right. Not less than 18 months ago, they had a huge rate increase. Now they're asking for another one. We look and see the news, and we see that BlackRock is talking about buying AES's parent company. Usually private equity owning your utility company is not a great thing for consumers, to put it mildly. So that's the context, right? Other context is the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, the OUCC.
Yeah.
That's the regulatory commission's basically watchdog group that's appointed by the government to make sure consumers' rights are being thought of and considered. OUCC held 5 field hearings in Indianapolis, and I asked them to hold 5. They held 4. Still appreciate that.
That's still pretty good.
Still pretty good. 6,700 people testified opposed to this rate increase. I came out. A bunch of other city councilors came out. Some politicians came out. A lot of people just talked about how this is going to impact people. I literally sat at the field hearing, and the woman behind me was a retiree who came to the hearing that day because she had nothing better to do because her electricity got cut off on her fixed income.
Oh, jeez.
And to their credit, the AES people freaked out about that and helped her.
But you got to shine a spotlight on that.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's the context, right? So the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor came out with their report based on all that feedback and said AES should not get a rate increase at all. In fact, we should lower their rates.
Yeah. That's
lower
the big
their
thing,
rate of profit.
Yeah, and you've got like sort of momentum now, even though Braun's a big phony on this because he just signed that bill. It's going to raise everybody's rates during session.
Right.
But he said, I got these new IURC people to a point, and I'm going to tell them, no rate increases. So you got all the momentum against rate increases, and then the Hogsett administration just kind of stabs everybody in the back and cuts this deal that'll raise rates if it's approved.
That's exactly right. So I'm on the board of Citizens Action Coalition, which is a nonpartisan consumer watchdog group, fights for lower bills. OUCC and CAC both just refused to sit down to a settlement agreement because we didn't think there's any settlement that could be possible that lets AES raise your electric bill. Hogsett's administration went behind our backs and fought for this deal to let them raise residential rates by 6.5% again. And worst of all, after I started calling them out on social media and talking about what a raw deal this was for consumers, at 9:40 p.m. last night, they got a press release out to try to get ahead of this story, right? And you notice the press release, the words Joe Hogsett are nowhere on there, which is usually a sign that, a really fearless leader, not afraid to pass the buck,
Totally.
right?
Absolutely. Okay, Jesse Brown from the Indianapolis City County Council is our guest. Why did he do this? I mean, we all know it's his administration, right?
Of course.
No matter what they say in the press release. Why did he do this? Because it seems like there was real momentum to avoid anything happening and maybe even get these bills reduced for people.
Real momentum and bipartisan momentum, right? So you see, like you said, I agree, Mike Braun is a phony. Mike Vaughn.
Yes.
So Mike Braun,
He'll be his new name.
at least understood how upset people are about their electric bills. And so he was making a lot of gestures in the public as though he was going to fight this rate increase. And I think we should have called him on that and let him prove to everybody whether or not he's going to. Instead, Hogsett treats it like it's business as usual and does what, most cities would have done a few years ago, which is just try to cut a deal, minimize the harm. But if you look at the press release, you can see exactly what he was thinking. This is the same type of manipulative gaslighting that Joe Hogsett is famous for. He thinks the constituents are stupid.
Yeah.
And so he talks a lot. Every single time he passes a budget, he brags about the balanced budget, even though that's required under law.
You got to do that, right?
Right? You have to do that, but he brags about it anyway. And then he also is misleading. So he'll move money around. He'll raise fees, but say, well, that wasn't a raise in taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, technically true, but at the end of the day, more money comes out of your pocket.
Right.
That's what's happening here. So he did cut a deal so that the city pays less for streetlight maintenance and streetlight upgrades. So the city is going to save millions of dollars. So the press release says
the city.
Right. The entity, the city of Indianapolis, capital C, capital I, saves millions of dollars, which are taxpayer dollars. But how do they save that money? Literally, they're asking you to pay for it yourself in your electric bill.
Yeah, Jesse Brown from the Indianapolis City County Council is our guest. We're talking about this deal that was struck by Hogsett, City of Indianapolis, to agree to a rate increase. Don't you guys, as counselors, can't you go, can he just do that and speak on your behalf?
Well, hilariously,
you did that, didn't you?
It is very rare. I'm a socialist, right? We've got 18 Dems. We've got 6 Republicans on the council. And 25 of us unanimously last week just passed a resolution saying we call on AES to withdraw their rate case entirely and to get nothing.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I know, no city councilor was even communicated with. Hogsett just did this unilaterally without talking to any of us.
But can't you guys do something? I mean, can he do this and just say, well, I speak for the city? No, you speak for the city, right?
That's how a real city would work, right? When we're not just a kid's table that is set off to the side and ignored for them to just do what they want. But, when you see counselors still pass these horrible budgets year after year, we're enabling. We are enabling this kind of behavior. But what we could do, and this is something that, again, has bipartisan support. You heard everybody from Jared Evans to Josh Payne to me talking about this last Monday, is the city could come together and use revenue bonds and buy AES Indiana and run it as a municipal co-op the way the REMCs run. So this wouldn't be, trust me, I would never agree to Joe Hogsett runs our electric company. I've seen how badly he runs everything else. But the citizens, the ratepayers, could collectively manage this and stop paying a CEO $25 million a year and run it effectively.
Jesse Brown from the Indianapolis City County Council is our guest. When are your colleagues going to have enough of this guy? I mean, it's just, obviously, and I'll get to the Thomas Carl Cook thing in just a second.
Sure.
But it's just one thing after another. And other than you, and I guess Carlino finally decided she had enough after changing her mind several times, none of your other colleagues seem to ever be done with this guy.
That's right. And, I put it in an email to constituents yesterday. Hogsett's legacy is trash. There's no doubt about it that 15 years from now, when we look back at the history of Indianapolis, we're going to see, an alcoholic mayor who was abusive to his staff and who let a bunch of corrupt development deals go by. That's how people will remember him, period. I don't care what anybody says. Now the only question is, are counselors going to be remembered as part of that posse, or are they going to be independent politicians who still have a career after all this is said and done? I don't understand what they're waiting for. You don't have to be a Jesse Brown. You don't have to come out, guns blazing and calling out the corruption as you see it. You can at least put some distance between yourself and the administration.
But why not? Look at how happy you are. Look, you're still upright. You're taking nourishment. You haven't been found floating in the Monon. I mean,
not yet.
Like you're still here and you're pretty popular amongst your constituents. What are they afraid of?
I think it's about the money, right? So you look at Joe Hogsett and how much money he has in the bank and how tight he is with the deep pockets that really fund politics in this city. I have the distinct advantage. I didn't take any of their money to get elected, so I had nothing to lose. They have a lot to lose. They know that their constituents don't know them very well. None of us do. Even my election, 12% of the population turned out for that primary. So, I can't claim that I've got this amazing Democratic mandate. I'm just doing my job the best I see fit to do it, and constituents are going to decide whether they want to reelect me, and I'm cool with that.
I think you are by far the most honest member of the city county council. I say that all the time. I said, I like you the best, even though I don't even know if I disagree with you the most, because I think you're the most engaged with the people. I think you speak for the people the most. Now, you got some weird views about the cars, but I think you sort of have a blueprint on whether you're Democrat or Republican, how to do it the right way, whether you agree with the person's politics or not, which is you go right to the people.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, in whether you want to call it a democracy, a democratic republic, or a republic, no matter what, consent comes from the governed, right? And so that's where the power comes from. You can't skip that step of actually talking with people and seeing how they feel.
Before we let you go, two things. One, is this done now with the rate increase? Because the IURC can still reject this, correct?
They could still reject it. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up. This morning, I'm going to be sending a letter to the IURC asking them to take an unprecedented step that I don't think they've ever taken before, which is to hold field hearings. So they already held 4 field hearings about the rate case.
Yeah.
I want them to hold a field hearing or 2 about this proposed settlement. Just because, again, if the city of Indianapolis is claiming to speak for us, let's hear what actual ratepayers from the city of Indianapolis think about this. I think that we need a little bit more public testimony just to keep this in the spotlight and make sure that our IURC understands Joe Hogsett does not speak for us.
You going to run for mayor?
Not this time around, I don't think. But I saw you post about this. If somebody comes up with a couple $1 million to help me out, then maybe I'll think about it. Me for mayor, you for governor, right?
Yeah, there you go, brother. Jesse Brown, member of the Indianapolis City County Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show back at it this afternoon. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall is going to flip out and go off the rails. Jim, the dude, he's in with me this afternoon. Let's have a good time.
Neighborhoods are popping up everywhere, but if you want something different than what you're currently seeing, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, can build you a unique custom home on your own private lot or anywhere you can bring your own builder. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. Visit Joyner Homes Model Homes or go to joynerhomes.com to see floor plans and pricing and more. With Joyner Homes, you can even start from scratch if you want. Check out their 5-star Google reviews and visit joynerhomes.com.
Our electric bills have increased as much as $50 each month. Governor Mike Braun is driving bills even higher. Instead of helping families, Governor Braun is doubling down on costly coal, gas, and nuclear. That means more pricey power plants that Hoosiers like us have to pay for. Utilities get richer, we pay more. Something has to give. Go to StopMikesHikes.com today to send Governor Braun a message. Hoosiers need affordable energy, not a blank check for greedy utilities. Paid for by Citizens Action Coalition.
Join me for some bourbon at Kilroy's Broad Ripple on Tuesday, October 21st for bourbon, barbecue, and breadsticks. You can get a 3-pour premium bourbon tasting. You can even get a bottle of Kilroy's Blanton's Gold, their own private barrel selection, and the complete barbecue and breadstick buffet. And me, I will be there Tuesday, October 21st. This is Kilroy's Broad Ripple. Get your tickets at the link on their Facebook page. From 7 to 10 p.m. Tuesday, October 21st, it's bourbon, barbecue, and breadsticks at Kilroy's Broad Ripple. Get your tickets on their Facebook page.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, Hey, it's Rob for my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. And I know one of the things I hear so often is, Rob, how did your hair get so beautiful? Well, once upon a time, it was a complete and utter dumpster fire, and really wasn't much of it at all. And then I went to We Grow Hair Indy. That's right. That's what I did. I called. I made the phone call. 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Scheduled my totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the gang took a look at what was going on, said, here's how we can make that a little bit better. And they made it a lot better. And you can do exactly the same. Again, the consultation is no hassle, no obligation. They give you some suggestions. They tell you what it costs, and then you make the choice. And after your consultation, check out some folks who made the choice to get their confidence back by going to WeGrowHairIndy.com. WeGrowHairIndy.com, 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
Enough is enough. Governor Braun said he would listen to Hoosiers and stand up to Washington's plans to rig our maps. But now, those Washington insiders are coming to Indiana to finish the job. Unless we can stop them, we want our votes to count, our voices to be heard, and for lawmakers and Governor Braun to focus on issues that matter to us. Utility bills, inflation, taxes. Keep standing strong against redistricting at playfairindiana.com. Paid for by Indiana Conservation Voters.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Dancing with the Stars Wednesday, February 25th at Old National Center.
Oh, I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing. What's that, R. Dean Taylor? It's great. It's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Jim Merritt's in for Casey. So, Jim, you're an IU guy. You graduated a few years ago from IU.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think about it that way.
And now, okay, so technically, I tell people, because I never want to be accused of fibbing, I have an IU diploma on my wall because I didn't go to IU Bloomington. I went to IUPUI, but the diploma says Indiana University.
Of course.
Can I say I'm an IU grad?
I would think you could.
I could say
Yes.
that, right? I'm not misleading the audience.
No.
So I am an IU grad.
Yes.
And we both are taking an interest in this story because there's all sorts of drama now involving the IU student newspaper, or at least what was left of it, the Indiana Daily Student.
Yes. Or on April 1, it's the Indiana Daily Stupid.
Is that what they have, an April Fool's edition?
Yes.
Okay, so once upon a time, this, not to say you were alive back in the Stone Age or whatever, but once upon a time, the IU Daily Student was a pretty big deal on the IU campus.
It has, because of the journalism school, it has always resonated. It's always had a reach about it, and I read it religiously when I was there.
True story. You want my IU journalism school story? Would you like this?
Of course. I'm sure our listeners would too.
So I was in the student newspaper in high school, and I had an opinion column. Shocking, right? And it was very well read because I just ripped on various parts of the high school and things. And it was
all the way back then.
It was very popular. And so the school, since they couldn't kick me out of the newspaper, because I didn't do anything technically wrong, I just wrote pieces they didn't like. They said, send him to journalism camp. They'll teach him how to be a good writer. And so they paid for me to go to the summer IU journalism camp. And the newspaper, instructor or supervisor or whatever they called it, he goes, now, whatever they tell you, you just follow them, and you'll come back here and you'll be a much better writer this fall for your senior year. So I go, and they make you take your pieces and you turn them in, and they read them and they go, well, these are wonderful. And I said, really? They said, yeah, you're a great writer. And I said, well, they said, no. They don't like that you're ripping on the school and you're being critical of the school. Your writing is phenomenal. And here's, they do a little report card on you, and I go back and he goes, well, what'd you learn? I said, they said I was great.
Yeah.
He said, well, don't listen to anything they told you.
Well, when Walter Cronkite was a very trustworthy entity and person and media person way back when. And when Johnson, LBJ, President Johnson lost Walter Cronkite, and he lost the war. And when Mark Cuban tweets that he's not happy, and he's given so much money and so much support, and really just everything to Indiana University, and he tweets he's not happy, and you've lost Mark Cuban, there's a problem. There's a vacuum. We don't have an explanation that I can see from Indiana University itself. And right now there's a vacuum of explanation of why this actually happened.
All right, so here's what's going on. And I derailed myself there by talking about my esteemed high school student newspaper journalism
You
career.
talk about yourself, Rob?
Okay, so here's what's going on. So what this was recently, because of cost, et cetera, they limited the IU Daily Student, which used to be what it was like a weekly publication.
Absolutely. I mean, it was well read.
In the newspaper boxes, et cetera. But due to cost, they have essentially limited them to a couple times a year, them putting out actual print editions. Everything else is online. You log onto a website, da-da-da-da. That's where a lot of journalism is going. But, it was a big deal when it happened at IU. And part of that the university basically said, hey, when we do these print editions, we don't want hard news. We want them to be special things, homecoming, various events around campus. That's our directive to you about these print editions that are going to show up. We're paying to print them, et cetera. This is what we want. Well, the guy who was the journalism teacher, the main guy over there, he didn't like that. So they were going to put news in the print editions, and Jim Rodenbush is the guy's name, the director of student media.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we don't want to do that. And they're like, no, you can't do that. We're giving you a directive. We're paying for this with taxpayer money. We are in charge of this university. We're telling you what you're going to do. So they fired the guy, and now everybody's up in arms claiming their First Amendment rights have been violated. And I say to that, that's ridiculous. You don't have a right to print the IU Daily Student. It's part of this university. The trustees, the people in charge, the president, they make the choices, whether you like them or not. That's the rules you pay by. Somebody else is paying for this. They get to say what it is. I don't think this is a First Amendment thing.
Well, I think it's one of those things where on those situations where people didn't really realize what the backlash was going to be. And there is so much conversation about the First Amendment these days. And there should have been a meeting of the minds and somehow an agreement that it's all about what you say offline. And obviously, there was not a kumbaya moment. And when you fire somebody and they have a megaphone, and they're still the media. And right now,
sure, but they're a media paid for by somebody else. Like our bosses, I said, they mostly leave us alone. They don't ever tell us you have to say this, but we have rules and procedures here. I don't just get to go, nah, I'm not doing that. Yeah. They're the bosses. They say what we do. I have a First Amendment right to walk on that sidewalk down in front of us on 40 Monument Circle and say what I want. But when I'm here, I follow their rules, they being Urban One, because they're the owners. Like, this isn't a First Amendment thing. You're essentially working for this university. Mm-hmm. You do what they say.
Yeah, but it goes back to the devil is in the details, and nobody wants to get into the details. Everybody's 50,000 feet, and when you think about First Amendment and people talk about it, and you have Mark Cuban among many others tweeting about it, it is just it rules the day because people aren't paying attention to the detail, and they don't think about that as deeply as what you just said. You're right, but people don't dig into these things.
Wait, can you go back to the last thing you just said?
Well, no. I'm only going to say that once today. You're right.
All right, so Jim Merritt is in for Casey today. By the way, have you ever been hit up to give money to IU? Do they hit you up all the time to give them money?
Oh, of course, and I'm a dutiful supporter of Indiana University.
Don't you feel like you gave them enough when you were going there? That's the way I always looked at it. It was like,
well, it was only $33 an hour. Yeah.
Oh, it was. Is that all it was?
Yeah, you take 15 hours, of which I didn't, but you take 12 to 15 hours times 33, and that was what the tuition was back in 1977. Yeah. It was really, really, at that time it was expensive, but if you look back on it, it was a really good
They were giving it away.
Yeah, they were. They were. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, you are on this IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission Board.
Yeah.
And you have a big job in front of you, which is to make recommendations to the governor on who's going to be the new people overseeing this board. And so...
Yeah, we're just going to try to describe this and not have people snore.
Well, no, it's very important. It's extremely important because it's going to affect everybody's utility bills going forward,
Yes.
the decisions you guys make. And so I want you to walk us through this process of what you're looking for. You guys have to line up with the governor's vision? Let's help everybody understand how these utility bills are going to be decided going forward.
Okie dokie.
It's Kendall and Casey Show, Meriton for Casey, 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. You can say goodbye to cracked, stained, and dirty old floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out the color. Upgrade your home today by calling Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios, and they come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. The phone number, 877-417-0635. You can find them online, too, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Zillow ranks Indianapolis number 2 among 2025's hottest markets. Home values have risen and are holding strong. Now is a great time to sell. Hire the team with proven systems to maximize your equity. Sell your home with Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a fast, guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert trusted and recommended with the sale of your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Just pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Luke and Emma in Franklin said, we began building our new dream home and we needed to sell our old place at a great price to pay for it. The Mark Dietel team made it easy with multiple offers in the first weekend and closed in 25 days at the price we wanted. Call the local Indianapolis agent, trusted and recommended, the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232. Get all the details or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, Dietel, markdietel.com.
You get up early on snow days because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to thrive in the winter. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment with 0% financing available or save up to $5,250. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit IndianaUnclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the agreement AES is reaching this weekend with their proposed rate increase. How a free speech group is reacting to the news out of Bloomington and their student paper, and what one U.S. Senator is now saying about the ongoing government shutdown. Those stories and more next. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. Time for Fox News. It's 10 o'clock.
The families of 19 dead hostages keep waiting. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It's been a torturous few days here. We came here on Sunday, prepared to receive him on Monday.
But Omer Nutra's remains were not handed over to Israel and still haven't been. He's one of 2 Americans among the 19, and his mother, Orna, tells Fox.
And it's been worse since because Hamas, every day is keeping everyone on edge.
Only 9 bodies have been returned so far. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
Hamas says it has released all of the remains that it can locate. The group says that significant efforts and specialized equipment are needed to locate the others. U.S. officials saying Hamas is not in violation of the agreement and that Phase 2 will move forward as planned. Part of that next phase will include an international stabilization force that has oversight from the U.S. military, but not American boots on the ground to participate.
We're getting an update from Israel on the attacks in Yemen targeting Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The Israeli defense minister posted on X today that an August airstrike killed the Houthis' chief of staff. Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, who's wanted in the U.S. with a $50 million reward for his arrest for drug trafficking, is calling for peace, warning the U.S. is attempting regime change after President Trump acknowledged covert CIA operations underway inside Venezuela after blowing up 5 drug boats off the coast. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz tells Fox.
These are designated terrorist gangs, and President Trump is going to do whatever it takes.
The Senate will try again today to end the standoff over funding the government on day 16 of the shutdown. 9 earlier votes all failed.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune has reportedly signaled to Democrats, though, that he is willing to make a deal with them and give them a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies if they will agree to reopen the government.
That's Fox's Aisha Hasni at the Capitol. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The proposed rate increase now not as bad. Right now it's partly sunny and 60 in downtown Indy. It'll get it up to 72 for a high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. It's 10:02. AES Indiana is reaching a partial settlement in the regulatory rate review to reduce their proposed rate increase by a little more than half. Instead of a rate hike that would bump up electricity bills for Hoosiers by $21 a month on average, the utility company says it would be around $10 more over 2 years. That's also if it's approved by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. The Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor and the Indianapolis City County Council both called on a reduction in rates from AES last month. Indiana University telling its student paper to cut all news from its homecoming edition. When the newspaper refused, the school fired media director Jim Rodenbush and halted all print editions. A free speech group says it's blatant censorship and is urging IU to reverse course.
The university can work with the students to develop fiscally viable ways to publish, but it absolutely cannot dictate and ban them from publishing one way or another, and it certainly can't interfere with the content of the publications.
Dominic Coletti is with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. He says IU should now work with student editors and restore the support they had under Rodenbush. Indiana Senator Todd Young on Fox Business this week to discuss the ongoing government shutdown.
There's basically only one viable course right now, and that's to open all of government back up. And if they have any principled objections on policy grounds, then we'll negotiate with them, remembering that we are in the majority, that the American people chose Republican ideas over Democratic ideas last election.
Young has placed the blame squarely on Senate Democrats for obstructing efforts to reopen the government and stresses the impact on military families' paychecks. It's been closed now for 2.5 weeks. The LA Dodgers and Milwaukee Brewers go at it in Game 3 of the NLCS tonight. The Dodgers have a 2-0 lead over the Brewers. First pitch is at 6:08, and after the Blue Jays picked up a win in Game 3 of the ALCS last night, them and the Mariners will go at it again later tonight in Game 4 from Seattle, with the Mariners up 2-1. In college football this weekend, we're now into Week 8. Purdue will visit Northwestern in the afternoon. Undefeated IU hosts Michigan State. Ball State is at home to battle Akron, and Notre Dame is in South Bend for a date with USC. That game Saturday night. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
Picture this. Your career ends, your paycheck stops. Suddenly you're conducting your retirement with no sheet music. Don't let that happen. I'm Jason Hutchins, and after years of guiding Hoosier families through retirement planning, I put together some of the most important lessons into one simple, easy-to-read book, Orchestrate Your Retirement, a guide to composing a financially tuned plan. Get a copy mailed to you at no cost. Call 317-660-0929. That's 317-660-0929. This book is packed with real-world stories and strategies on income, Social Security, taxes, and how to protect what you've worked so hard to build. Call Guardian Wells Financial at 317-660-0929. That's 660-0929 and ask for your copy. No pressure, no strings attached. Supplies are limited, so when they're gone, they're gone. Orchestrate your retirement. The rhythm of your future starts here.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. Guardian Wealth Financial is not affiliated with Creative One Wealth or with any government agency. Licensed insurance professionals.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So there's a big protest set to take place at the State House on Saturday. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, though, so let's get to the bottom of it. It's Kendall and Casey show.
That's a problem.
Yeah, well, this is always the problem with these people. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Jim Merritt in for Casey, 30 years in the Indiana Senate. First of all, like I said, you spent 30 years in the Indiana Senate.
I did.
Did a protest, and I'm sure you saw many, many, many of them over the years. Did a protest ever move you on public policy?
You know, I don't know if you remember the red shirt with the teachers.
Angry red-shirted teachers, yes. We had a lot of fun with them.
Yes, and they packed the State House. Didn't bother me a bit.
Now, what about your colleagues?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't remember any
did they ever
major movement.
Because you were the number 2 guy in the Senate, which meant you were sort of like the dad of the Senate. Did some cowardly freshman senator come running into you and, Mr. Merritt, the angry red-shirted teachers, there's thousands up there. We got to do it. Like any of that?
Well, if there was a Mr., I would say senator to you. And you know,
son.
Yeah. And you know, I don't worry about titles, but no, I don't think any of the members. Our caucus was so patient and so, public policy oriented and so tied together that I think the only protest that went through the State House that bothered our caucus, the Senate Republican caucus, was RFRA.
Oh yeah,
and because.
So wait. Just, I'm sure most people are familiar with this, but just in case some people are not, RFRA was 2015.
Yes.
It was the Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
Yes.
It was sort of sparked out of this famous case about the cake. Can you be forced to bake the cake or make the cake for a gay couple? And then there was this policy you guys passed about people can object to or not do things based on their religious, belief system. There was absolutely no, I shouldn't say no, but there was very little media attention to this thing during debates, discussion. It went on for months, nothing.
Nobody protests. Nobody testified against it in committee.
It passed.
It passed.
Then people lost their minds.
Kaboom.
And then Mike Pence, because he's an idiot, went on George Stephanopoulos until he melted down on national television.
And he also had the bill signing with what looked like the Last Supper.
Yeah, it was like a Saturday Night Live skit on his bill signing. They handled, well, that's because look at the people Pence surrounded himself with. Just like Braun, they had no idea what they were doing. And then this thing becomes this national attention that all these conventions were threatening to pull out and leave. And you guys totally caved, by the way, Merritt. You totally gave in, and you did some fix that didn't fix anything, and most people said made it worse.
Well, yeah.
Thanks for your service.
And, we did cave. And you can say that blatantly right now. And back then, Indianapolis, in my lifetime, has been built on convention, built on groups meeting here in largeness, and that's really why we have flourished along with the sports activities. But back then we saw the NBA All-Star game being taken out of Charlotte because of what North Carolina did, and the Chamber of Commerce, the business community, everybody was tagging on to us, and we responded. And we had a trailer bill. We signed it, and the governor signed it. And it just really took us by surprise. And we've had 25,000 people walking through that State House, and it didn't bother us a bit.
Yeah, but that was because, look, I love you, but that was because you guys were afraid of the business impact of this, not because people were protesting. You guys
absolutely.
It had nothing to do with the lunatics on the lawn.
No.
It was because these business groups, trade association, whatever, came to you and were like, we're pulling out unless you guys fix this thing.
It all revolves around Monday, like everything else.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, so I mentioned all of this because this No Kings protest is going on Saturday on the lawn at the State House. Now, they had one of these earlier this year. It drew about 4,000 people, according to Indy Star was the estimate. It's noon to 3 this Saturday on the south lawn of the State House. But I don't understand, like, what they're trying to accomplish and who they're – and it seems like this happens with a lot with the left. Like, were you – having recently put together a rally, which ultimately we were lied to and ignored in the order in which it was received, but we put 1,000 people in the State House, and we felt pretty good going out of there because the governor rolled up his sleeves and said, hey, I'm with you, right? Like we were playing to an audience of one, and he responded, and we thought, okay, we're trying to get something done here. I don't know what these people are screaming about or what they expect Indiana to do about it.
Yeah, and just be clear, I get texts a lot. After State House happenings, people angry with me. Now they're angry with me that I'm on here with you.
Just your mere existence in my presence. Let's pause for a second.
Have ruined my life.
So Jim and I, just a real reset this. Jim and I have been working together for about 9 years now, right? Mm-hmm. And I showed up in Jim's orbit. I had a nightly it wasn't community affairs, but it was really based around, like, it was not this show. It was, I interviewed people, newsmakers, public policy people on a station in Hendricks County. It was very popular in the county, which is how I ended up here. But it was not the rather intense version of programming that we have here each day that is so beloved. And you were doing, I think this was the Lifeline law, something related to that. And I had emailed Jim and I said, I'm very interested in this. I'd like to interview you. You said, well, sure, come on down to the State House.
In reality, I was saying,
Yeah, it's when it all went south for you. That, and when you somehow finagled so that I got into the governor's office.
That was the day of the State of the State.
Yeah, but anyway, point on all this is I find that fascinating that your mere existence with me is enough to enrage people that they send you derogatory messages.
Well, yeah, and I'm constantly being corrected, and in life and on the radio. But I'm told RFRA originally came out of a case for a guy to be able to smoke peyote as a part of a religious ceremony.
I never heard that in any of the discussions.
I never heard that either.
And you were there. Did Brian Bosma or David Long stand up and go, no, this is about a man being able to smoke peyote?
No, but, back to the Kings, folks. The reason why your protest went over so well is, number one, you promoted it.
Yeah.
You were clear with the message. You gathered, you had signs, you made noise, you had 1,000 people there, but you also did it when you knew the governor was in town.
Yeah, that's right.
And the legislature was there. Everything worked together on a fabulous presentation that you and Casey and whoever else gave, and the governor spoke. I mean, it all fell together well, and I'm surprised you got this done because of you.
Well, here's what happened that day. And look, we'll give credit. This was back when he actually gave a damn. Micah helped with that,
Sure.
or the facade of
you need people on the inside.
Yeah,
no question about it.
He gave the facade of helping, and then
Right.
of course, then he had to start doing work, and that wasn't gonna work out.
If you're going to have a protest, you've got to have people working on the inside the limestone, and the Kings don't.
Yeah, and with Braun, he thought there were going to be 10 people there, and he turned around that corner. He thought, I'm going to go and wave and leave, and he saw those people, and he got all caught up in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The 1,000 people were cheering and chanting. He rolled up his sleeve to blah, blah, blah. But this is the point, right? What's the focus of this? And it brings me to, this is the problem with the Democrat Party, which, let's face it, most of these people are directly affiliated with the many of them with the far left of the Democrat Party. What are you screaming about, and what do you want these people in the General Assembly to do? Because all you're doing now is you're sort of just tainting your ability to get actual public policy done that these people can.
Well, it goes back to 2007 when everybody was protesting property tax issues, and they pointed at Mayor Bart Peterson, who had relatively nothing to do with property taxes and property tax reform, but they carried it and made. You have to have an object. You have to have a goal, and Mayor Peterson loses. And I was part of that campaign, and you just saw it unfolding. And whatever this Kings rally is going to be is they don't have an epicenter. They don't have a focus. They don't have a spotlight. They really don't have a bad guy. Somebody that is in there in their eyesight.
Well,
gun sights.
this is about Trump, right? But you're just affirming yourself. You're not, and you're doing it on Saturday when nobody's there anyway.
Right.
That's why when people were like, well, why are you guys doing your protest during the day? Why are you doing it on a weekday? Because that's when the people are going to be there that you're trying to motivate, right?
Yeah, and, we had 25,000 people walk through when we were talking about a labor issue in the mid-'90s. But when they start taking conventions away from Indianapolis and RFRA's the issue, I don't want to say cave, but you count your cards and you put them on the table and you get the job done, amend the bill, regardless if it had any effect or not. We took the steps that needed to take the issue out.
Yeah, and I know there's a list of bevy of things they're upset about, and one of the local things I think is redistricting, which, hey, on board with that, but doing it on a Saturday afternoon, that's not like...
Yeah, everybody's thinking about IU football.
And exactly right.
The mindset is, I don't know, to protest, you have to capture, you have to, there won't be any media there on Saturday.
Well, that's the other point. You're going to get, and even those that will show up, which, the people will come, but it's Saturday afternoon. It's going to die on a Saturday evening news cycle, and then boom, we're done, and you're back to Monday. And
talking on this radio station this morning, we are doing them a favor.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would have never known about it unless it was an issue today.
Well, that's what I do. Hey, speaking of issues and what we do, Nikki Kelly, one of the best in the business from the Indiana Capital Chronicle, will join us next. We will talk about redistricting. We'll talk about this big meeting with the border czar coming to talk to the General Assembly. We'll talk about all the money that's flowing into the state of Indiana. A lot to get to. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
There's a real truth here that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. Gen Z is not hooking up, and you're missing out on experiences, you're missing out on connections. I don't know why it isn't important, but being afraid of the experience is a real problem for the soul. Well, how do you find people? How do you create? To quote Avenue Q, there is life outside your apartment.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Of all the times to buy a new Lincoln, right now is the very best time at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months on 2025 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, or Aviator. Plus get a $1,000 Tom Roush Trade Assist bonus. So come get that new Lincoln from Tom Roush Lincoln, where our family's been serving yours for 53 years.
Subject to credit approval. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete offer details. Offer ends 10/31/2025.
The weather's brought fall color to Sundown Gardens. A great fresh selection of container trees has just arrived. The nursery staff at Sundown Gardens is ready to help you get all of your fall plantings done. And while you're there, shop all the season sales. 20% off interior fall decor, 50% off pottery, and some nursery selection is up to 50% off. The Garden Center has a great selection of local grown mums, pumpkins, and more. Sundown Gardens on the corner of 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's unrivaled early payout offer. When you bet on a team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. Forget the final whistle and start counting that cash. Hold up. You get early payout on parlays, too.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Indiana. T&Cs apply.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Transform your backyard this fall with Indie Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor furniture set with their best stamped concrete patio package. Hurry, offer ends November 1st. Visit IndieDecorativeConcrete.com for details.
Well, as usual, there's a lot going on with Indiana politics and government, and to get to the bottom of as much of it as we can, we go to one of the best in the business. Joining us now on the WIBC hotline, Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's start with this. This perplexes me beyond belief because it appears nobody seems to want it in Indiana, yet our legislators won't let it die. That is redistricting. 2 polls came out this week, both saying the same thing. The public is overwhelmingly against this. Have you ever seen the governor/General Assembly refuse to let something go that has such a lack of public support?
Well, to be fair, I think they're willing to let it go. I think they wanted to just be quiet and let the time run out. I think the Trump administration is not letting them let it go. So that's where the pressure's coming from. I think if it were up to legislative leadership, they would never make a, quote, official decision. It just wouldn't happen. So I think that's where we're at on that. And the Trump administration wants them to move forward.
Okay, so they've been at this for months now. Do you have a read on this? Do they just not have the votes? Is that why they're not going forward?
My understanding is that the Senate probably, the House easily has the votes, or maybe not easily, but they have the votes, and the Senate does not. And the key, though, is in the Senate, at least, is it's one thing to say no behind closed doors, but if the governor would go ahead and call a special session without waiting for the go-ahead, so to speak, from legislative leaders, that would put some people on the spot to actually have to vote no in public. And I think that's a much harder thing than to just, take a private whip count, and they would have to stand by that no. And also, I've heard that there's some threats, I guess is the right word, of, primarying people who don't go along with this, and or supporting people who do through a war chest.
There's been 4 or 5 public polls now that have come out. They've all basically shown the same thing, which is the public is against us, and by pretty wide margins. It sort of varies depending on the poll. Have you been able to sort of parse through that on why the public isn't supportive of redistricting?
Not any more than just talking to people at rallies and things like that. I think we can't find a time, at least no one's given one up. And I tried to go through the history. We've certainly found redistrictings that happened late that they didn't do until later. But I think it would be unprecedented that we do it early, at least in modern history. And so I think that alone is putting people off, that, and also the fact that they can't, I guess, distill a reason other than pure politics. That's literally all it is.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You've been doing this for, 25 years now or more. Do you ever remember a time where they just straight up admitted, like Andrew Ireland, state rep, has admitted it. Braun obviously has admitted it. They're just doing it because of politics. Do you ever remember just an admission from the leaders? Yeah, we're just doing this for politics.
No, but redistricting kind of is all about politics, so it's kind of hard to get around that. And there was a great story that State Affairs Indiana did recently where they pulled all the quotes from leaders and quotes from press releases, from hearings, from press conferences about how wonderful these maps are from 2021. And so it's fascinating. It's going to be very hard for Bray and Houston, especially after this complete silence for months now, to come out and just somehow, full-throatedly get on board.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. The other big event this week, Tom Homan, he's the border czar for Trump. He was in town, gave a speech to the Indiana General Assembly. Todd Rokita was there. What was his goal on this, or what was the goal of this? Because Indiana seems like it's already a pretty supportive state of all the Trump immigration measures.
Yeah, the goal is just they're trying a new push for this bill that didn't make it through last year, and they're bringing in big names to get behind it, to put extra pressure on it. Obviously, yeah, Indiana is fully behind the situation. We're holding migrants and deportees. We are cooperating with police. We have, been behind everything. But that bill has a lot in it that goes a lot further than some lawmakers are ready to go. It would give the Attorney General's office a lot more power. One small example is just the Attorney General can issue what they call civil investigative demands. And recently they issued some down in southern Indiana to a business and a refugee organization. And a judge said, no, this is just a fishing expedition. I'm not letting this happen. But that bill would pretty much make it easy because it would give the Attorney General so much more power. It would require sheriffs to honor detainer requests. Right now they're called detainer requests because it's a request. They are not judicially approved warrants for arrests. So a lot of sheriffs are uncomfortable with that. And it has a whole section about businesses being held accountable for hiring illegal workers. And I think businesses are fine with being held accountable if they know it, but the wording in the bill is pretty, it would be very easy to catch businesses who didn't know. So, it's a big bill, and they're trying to push it again this year.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head with this, which is this sort of seems like it was a Todd Rokita glorified floor show. Now, he hates this Liz Brown woman who is the senator from Fort Wayne who he blames for killing this bill. This almost seemed like a very vendetta-driven thing geared towards one person, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. Her thing has been, hey, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I want to help with detaining illegal immigrants, but there's a lot of bad stuff. She's got to start doing a better job of explaining this, or they're going to take her down.
Yeah, and everyone's focusing on Liz Brown, and that's fair. She's the chairwoman, and she made the decision. But let's be clear, if Rod Bray and the Senate Republican caucus wanted that bill, he would have simply moved it to another committee, as he has done in the past with bills that Liz Brown blocked. And they didn't choose to do that. And I assume that's because they had some internal caucus discussions and decided not to move forward with it.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle is our guest. Couple minutes left with her. Now, you guys had a big, I think you were actually the writer on this, the reporter on this, that somehow they were way off on revenue. They did a panic attack at the end of the legislative session because they said the revenues were going to be way down, cut a bunch of things, raise taxes. And now you guys are reporting, hey, they did really well the first quarter.
Yeah, and look, I revenue predicting is way out of my bailiwick, but yeah, they dropped the revenue projections so much that now it looks like everything's great, because I think maybe the revenue forecast team, and it is a bipartisan team, and there's economic outlooks and things like that, very complicated stuff, but maybe the economy didn't go down as much as they thought. So now, yeah, we're coming in above, which is great. A couple $100 million, which to real people is a lot, but to a $20 billion budget, it's a small amount. But hopefully, maybe if the next quarter goes well, you never know. Maybe the executive branch can stop laying people off or something.
One of the best in the business. Find her over at IndianaCapitalChronicle.com. Nikki Kelly, thank you.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
Things are getting frighteningly good at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this weekend at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. Whether you're buying, selling, or trading, the best dealers in the region are creeping in for this haunted weekend of bargains. Admission is just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. But beware, you must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Doors creak open Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 9 to 3 at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They are also discussing redistricting. Mostly sunny, 60 in the Circle City, 72 is the high for today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The Supreme Court is apparently leaning towards limiting the use of a race to determine the boundaries of congressional districts, in a move that could have a major impact on elections moving forward.
Yesterday, the justices heard arguments over Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, that landmark law that forced states to draw electoral districts that favored minority voters. The justices appear poised to limit use of that act. The 6 conservative justices on the bench heard the challenge, which emanated from the state of Louisiana. Now, there's a majority black House district there. The Justice Department and attorney representing the Republican-run state of Louisiana say the district is unconstitutional. If the justices rule in favor of Louisiana and wipe out the district, there will be a trickle-down effect in some other southern states. Districts may have to be redrawn.
Fox's David Spunt reporting the decision is expected by next June at the latest. The remains of 2 more deceased hostages formerly held by Hamas are now in Israel. A spokesperson for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has received the remains of 9 deceased hostages now.
We are demanding Hamas release the remaining hostages, the 19 hostages whose bodies are still being held inside of the Gaza Strip.
Moving forward, it's unclear who will govern Gaza during reconstruction and whether Hamas will disarm. NBC News is facing layoffs with 7 to 8% of staff at a chance of being let go. That's about 100 to 150 positions. And Diane Keaton's cause of death revealed. The award-winning actress passed away from pneumonia at the age of 79. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. October is here, and you know what it means. The return of all things pumpkin-flavored, earlier sunsets, and chilly air seeping into your home. That is, if you've got those old, stuck, cracked windows. Ready to eliminate annoying drafts once and for all? Reach out to the experts at Window Nation. This month, when you buy 2 windows, you'll get 2 more for free, and your total price includes 1-day installation. With Window Nation, you also won't have to make any payments for 2 years, which is a big deal with the holiday season coming up. Check it out at windownation.com.
Window Nation has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and that gives you the peace of mind when you're deciding on whether or not you're working with the right company. Put an end to your window problems with Window Nation. Now through October 31st, buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, and you don't pay anything for 2 years with Window Nation. Visit windownation.com today. That's windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hey, guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, we love Life Church. We attend the Eagle Creek campus, but they've got 4 campuses to make it simple for you all across central Indiana: Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Plus, they've got awesome online services. So the great thing about that is test it out for yourself. Never even have to leave your couch at home. Life Church would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So why not give it a shot? Check them out on the web. Learn more about everything. LifeChurchIN.com.
My brother never checks on dad. Or my sister won't make time to take mom to the doctor. Are these things you've heard yourself say? This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I have a caregiving tip for you. Stay tuned.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
Expressing anger or resentment toward unsupportive siblings can cause unmendable rifts in relationships. Don't try to control everyone else. You can only control yourself. The success of your caregiving journey does not rest on others. So enjoy the time with your loved one. This is your special time with them. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
If you stopped paying your financial advisor, would they still be your friend? A different look at retirement planning with Greg Ayler. Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
So there is massive money flying into the Secretary of State's race on both sides, and I want to get to the bottom of this. But first, we had a big announcement during the last segment or commercial break. We found out Jim Merritt's a Jackson Brown fan.
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the family.
If he had anything about money, maybe Kevin would have, because Bo Bai is all about money right now.
Yes. So this is very, very interesting. Of course, Diego Morales, the current Secretary of State, he's raised already over $1 million. And look, he's been very good at handing out contracts from his office, and those people were very nice to return, in many cases, sizable donations to his war chest. Probably a big coincidence there.
Well, yeah. Well, it's going to be a high-profile race next year, no question about it.
But it now comes out, our old pal Indy reporter, amongst others, have been all over this, that Bo Bai, and he's been at it a couple weeks already, has raised more than $500,000 already, just in a couple weeks. That's not even tapping into his father was Evan.
Yeah, Dad is getting the old band together.
Well, that's, he had $1 million or whatever left in his campaign account from when he ran for Senate the last time.
I think it's a lot more than that.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So he hasn't even touched
it could be
into
up
that.
to $6 million.
So point on all of this is there's going to be probably, we got a ways to go on this, but there could be well in excess potentially of $7 or $8 million spent on this Secretary of State's race next year in the state of Indiana.
Oh, I think that is not a bold prediction. I think that is exactly right. I think it's going to be more than that. The Democrats back when Evan was running for Secretary of State were just looking for a beachhead to start fundraising for him to run for governor. It's the same thing here. They're trying to figure out how to break the Republican clinch on Indiana, and Bo Bai is their tool.
Well, so that's what's fascinating about this to me, because whether you're deeply interested in Indiana politics, maybe the way we are or not, you need to be interested in this race, because there's like so many things that will happen as a result of this race and the outcome of this race. And first and foremost, it's sort of like Custer's last stand for the Democrats. If this guy with that name and all this money that he's going to raise, if he can't win, the Democrats might as well just pack it up as a party and just say we're done here.
Well, and also I noticed that a friend of Evan Bai's, I guess we call him Senator Bai, former Senator Bai.
Wait, what's higher? Are you governor or senator? What's the higher?
I think it's Senator Bai. If you will, Teddy Roosevelt liked being called Colonel instead of President.
Well, maybe we'll call him Colonel Bai.
But if the form says Senator Bai,
so senator is ahead of governor.
Yes, I would think so, because that was the last office that he held.
Okay, so and you know me, I never want to have bad decorum.
Oh, of course not.
So we'll call him Senator Bai. Well, anyway, yes, go ahead.
But one of his friends is now employing young Bo Bai in his law firm, and so all the group is being reformed and being brought back together again, and this will be if he raises this amount of money in just a short amount of time, he's got plenty left in the tank. His dad's going to give him a lot of his campaign money, if not all. Joe Hogsett, who's like an uncle to Bo, mayor of Indianapolis, will be raising money for him, giving him money. There won't be a problem with money in this race. And for a Secretary of State's race, which most people don't know what the Secretary of State actually does, this will be a $10 to $15 million race.
But it really does put on. So then there's a second prong of this, which is this is showing you how important this office actually is. The people are willing. They're not doing it for comptroller. They're not even doing it for state treasurer. Yeah. You're seeing this money flood in because of all the things that this office actually controls, from elections to business licensure, and there's a lot on the line on who's going to end up running this office.
It is a very important office, but also I'm sure somebody's polled, looking at least the comptroller, looking at Dan Elliott, the state treasurer, and they see Diego which may have poor, we don't know, but poor poll numbers in central Indiana.
Look, there's 2 polls that have come out, and most people had no idea who the guy was, but those who did, he was way underwater, those two polls.
So you go towards what where the weakness is. Also with the importance of the office, as well as the fact that Bo can run in 26 if he should win, which I don't think he will, but should he win, he's already got the fundraising machine ready, all ready to go in 28, and that's really what his dad did successfully.
And then the third part of this, and like as a political nerd, this just really excites me. But we always talk about obviously 50,000-ish people a day. We're talking to a wide variety of people and why they need to care about it, even if you're not super into politics. But the third thing is that one would assume, with all of this money that Bo Bai is going to raise or is raising, he will shine a light on who Diego Morales is and will attempt to, if he does this right, indict as many Republicans in the process who have either facilitated or at the very least totally turned a blind eye to all the crap that Diego Morales has pulled in the very short time he's been in that office. And it's an opportunity really to potentially do some damage to the Republican Party through this guy's campaign that may not, but it may have a lasting impact.
But on the other side of it is that the Republican Party will batten the hatches down. They will support with Diego with money and with boots on the ground. It will fortify the Republicans' effort. It's a lot like what happened in Carmel in the mayor race. The Republican Party came together because that city is becoming purple, and Mario Masalami did a really good job of bringing everybody home and getting out and talking to doing what a party should do. And this is an opportunity for the party to coalesce around Diego. And the thing is, Diego wins, he might want to be governor in 28 as well.
Yeah, but Sue Fingham's just a bad mayor. She's not a dirtball like Diego. I mean, it's going to be a lot harder if he's the nominee to coalesce around that. Given all, I think Sue Fingham was, saddled with any scandals the way that Diego is. I mean, this is the great thing about this. Diego cannot reveal who paid for India. I bet the buys are going to figure out who paid for that trip.
My point is I live in West Carmel now, and Todd Young, who's a very good candidate, tied in my precinct with the Democrat, and Diego barely won it as a county or as a city. My point is they had to coalesce everybody behind Sue when she ran for election as a first-time mayor, and that is what the state's going to have to do as a Republican Party: come together and support Diego financially and boots on the ground, and that's how he beat Bo Bai.
Bo Bai will be with us tomorrow. That's a big interview for him.
Yeah.
He's got to win people here.
Yes, he does. If he doesn't win Central Indiana, or if he doesn't win Marion County, big, because we know how blue it is, he will not compete with Diego statewide.
But he's got to convince a lot of, not just independents, but he's got to convince Republicans to vote for him, too. He can't win it without convincing some people to cross over.
And when his dad broke in and was governor, the Democrat Party was something that most of the people in that party were proud of, and that had issues, and that really represented, a moderate standpoint. And what you see in the Democrat Party is they have no issues. They're very leftist, and they just don't run good statewide campaigns, and that's why they don't have any members that are in office right now of their party.
All right, so he'll be with us tomorrow. A little promo for that. We'll take a break. Hammer's going to join us next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show back at it this afternoon. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall is going to flip out and go off the rails. Jim, the dude, he's in with me this afternoon. Let's have a good time.
When people think sleep apnea, they think CPAP. Now at Advent, we do all we can to help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. And most sleep apnea sufferers who come to Advent are going to be able to avoid a CPAP altogether. Our unique Advent approach using simple in-office solutions can get your nose working and throat open all under one roof. You see, the root of every snoring and obstructive sleep apnea problem lies within the throat, nose, or both. At Advent, we know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. And we have the most simple and convenient, ultra-effective in-office solutions that can do just that. And this is why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find the sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Who's Your Hero? Mark Dietel. You know, Zillow ranks Indianapolis number 2 among 2025's hottest markets. Home values have risen and are holding strong. Now is a great time to sell. Hire the team with proven systems to maximize your equity. Sell your home with the great Mark Dietel. Maybe you're worried that you're not going to get a fast, guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, and you don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Dan and Casey in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietel. It's time to downsize, and we need to sell our old house quickly at full value. Mark Dietel made it happen. We got our asking price in a few weeks without any repairs or an appraisal. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Our electric bills have increased as much as $50 each month. Governor Mike Braun is driving bills even higher. Instead of helping families, Governor Braun is doubling down on costly coal, gas, and nuclear. That means more pricey power plants that Hoosiers like us have to pay for. Utilities get richer, we pay more. Something has to give. Go to StopMikesHikes.com today to send Governor Braun a message. Hoosiers need affordable energy, not a blank check for greedy utilities. Paid for by Citizens Action Coalition.
Of all the times to buy new Lincoln, right now is the very best time at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months on 2025 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, or Aviator. Plus get a $1,000 Tom Roush Trade Assist bonus. So come get that new Lincoln from Tom Roush Lincoln, where our family's been serving yours for over 53 years.
Subject to credit approval. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete offer details. Offer ends 10/31/2025. Look, switching point of sale systems is a total nightmare, right? But here's the thing. Shopify POS makes switching easier. A Shopify POS expert, a real human being, helps with setup and data migration. No need to be your own tech support, because with Shopify POS, you get support for free. You'll also get a free card reader and 25% off POS subscription fees. Switching your POS is easier with Shopify. Eligibility requirements apply. To learn more, visit shopify.com/switch now. That's shopify.com/switch now.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Enough is enough. Governor Braun said he would listen to Hoosiers and stand up to Washington's plans to rig our maps. But now, those Washington insiders are coming to Indiana to finish the job. Unless we can stop them, we want our votes to count, our voices to be heard, and for lawmakers and Governor Braun to focus on issues that matter to us. Utility bills, inflation, taxes. Keep standing strong against redistricting at playfairindiana.com. Paid for by Indiana Conservation Voters.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Casey and the Sunshine Band Friday, January 23rd at Old National Center.
All right, I know you got big plans for this segment, but before we get into it, I heard a promo. Cats is doing something at Kilroy's in Broad Ripple. How did Cats get chosen to do something at Kilroy's in Broad Ripple rather than
that
us?
big Tony Cats.
Yeah, that's right. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Merritt's in for Casey. Jason Hammer, hello.
That should have been you, because
right.
like you still go to these types of places, even though you're way too old to be there. You still try to say hello, fellow kids, and walk into said establishments.
I've drank way too much at these places. I've dated people who have worked at these places. I've checked all the boxes of being the host that should go to these places.
Just think 20 years from now, Olivia's going to be in these places.
He is not going to be in any of these places, Jim Merritt. She's going to be locked in her room.
This sounds familiar.
You know what I thought was really entertaining was a couple segments ago, you guys just giving each other crap. Rob's giving you crap on your voting record. You're giving it right back because of how unlikable and fugly he is. It's perfect. So I wanted to continue this because I think this is what the people want. Right?
Uh-oh.
So here's what we're going to do. Here in just a moment, I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock. It's a clock with a buzzer at the end. That's exactly 30 seconds. Mr. Merritt, do you believe you could roast Rob Kendall for 30 seconds nonstop?
It's unlimited material. Yes.
No way. Okay. He's too nice. There's no way he can do it. He's too nice. I don't believe he can do it.
Let's find out. All right, here we go. When we start the clock, begin. Okay? Kevin, hit it.
Rob, you have no friends.
Yeah! Let's go!
Rob, you've got fake hair.
Yes! Go!
Rob, you really have no life other than being you're a terrible dad.
Yes, horrible dad. Can't make mac and cheese.
Your mother dresses you funny.
Yes. All right.
That's pretty good.
Hey, that wasn't bad.
That was good.
No
That
expletives.
was much meaner than I thought you had in you.
Yes.
I've never seen him get angry.
I don't.
He's like Ned Flanders. I've never seen him get angry, ever.
In customer, when we had I've got a son and two daughters, and we had either girlfriends or boyfriends come through the house, and we had Dad's word list. And it's words that you just don't say in our household.
Yeah.
And somebody wanted a copy of the word list to make sure they didn't say it. It said, if you think it and you think it's on the list, don't say it.
Yeah. Was it like shucks? Shucks has been. You want to give that a shot? I bet you could do.
Okay, well, I was going to give you dealer's choice, okay? Because I was going to let you do it, but you can pick your opponent. It can either be ripping on Merritt for 30 seconds or ripping on me for 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm going to take Merritt.
Oh, you could.
Okay.
You got a lot. I mean, Hammer's fat.
Hey! I just gave you the green light to rip on Rob. All right, so you're going to do Jim Merritt.
Just remember, I love you, Jim.
Oh,
all right,
I should have put that in front of mine, too.
Kevin, hit it.
Jim, your campaign for mayor was a disaster. I've never seen a weaker operation. Jim,
or a weaker candidate.
You were awful as a senator. All the tax increases have screwed so many people. And RFRA, what the hell were you guys thinking with that?
Let's go.
Jim, I can't believe you ever thought you would be governor someday. And Jim, on behalf of Hoosiers everywhere, thanks for absolutely nothing.
Well done, everybody.
I thought you were going to say I suck.
Like, I could listen to a full show of this back and forth.
This is good radio.
You guys are like the two old Muppets that sit in the balcony right now.
It's better than being in the balcony with those two old men.
All right, so you were on The Fan earlier today. I heard you competing against us. Thanks for doing that, by the way.
Well, somebody's got to bring some revenue into this joint.
So you go on The Fan, our sister station, The Fan, the sports talk station, every Thursday, right?
Yes, and promoting the Degenerates Next Door podcast, and we talk a little Thursday night football. Now, tonight, we've got a couple old dudes in the spotlight. Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. And I made the comparison on The Fan this morning that tonight for Joe Flacco, I'm calling this the old guy at the bachelor party game. Now, here's what I mean by this. Follow me here. When you're at a bachelor party, like, you think it's you and your buddies and maybe your frat bros, friends from high school. You guys are going to be the ones getting crazy. But the real reality is, anybody that's been to a bachelor party knows it's the dads, it's the uncles. They're the ones getting loose because it's their night out. They don't go out as much as you guys do, so they're buying the drinks.
Sure.
They're buying the shots. They're doing the dances. Like, this is their night out. So they're the ones you want to hang out with. Which brings me to Joe Flacco tonight. Joey Flax probably didn't think he'd be in this position, right? He was going to be a backup or maybe out of the league. But here he is tonight, starting at home on national television. This is the old guy at the bachelor party. He's not going to have many more opportunities. This is his night out. So he's going to try to put on a show and keep an eye on some points tonight. He's going to throw it around the yard.
Merritt, you ever got super liquored up in public before?
Never. What I thought it was interesting, I thought you were going to say it's Dad's weekend at IU.
Same philosophy. Yes, I can see that.
Now, I would ask this to Nigel, but we all know the answer. It's last week. You post 40. You ever drank more than you?
Last week. I had a designated driver for the Coach's Tavern show, and let's just say that the coupon lady was not real happy with me.
Oh, what she give you? You're embarrassing your family.
Yeah. I don't ever want to see you get that drunk again. Like, I got these speech where the teeth are clenched, but you can still hear words coming out. What is wrong with you?
And the impressive thing is she said that to you in your 20s.
Have been really inebriated.
In your 30s, and now your 40s. Over and over and
I'm
over
just
again.
trying to be consistent. That's what this marriage is based off of, consistency.
What are you doing this afternoon? What's going on?
We've got the biggest stories in Indy. The dude, Jim, is going to be my co-host this afternoon, and you're going to come by and go off the rails.
All right, James Briggs from the Indy Star going to join us next. He's got a great column about how much Hogsett sucks when it comes to the old Thomas Carl Cook saga.
Team Briggs, let's go, baby.
93 WIBC.
Football is back, and so are great hairlines. We Grow Hair Indy has helped former local professional football players get back in the game with full natural hair. You don't have to play pro ball to get pro-level results. Hey, it's Rob, and I knew I picked the right team when I needed a Hail Mary for my hair. I called We Grow Hair Indy. Whether you're tailgating, coaching, or watching from the couch, do it with confidence. Trade the sidelines for a hairline. Get back in the game at We Grow Hair Indy. Schedule your free evaluation today at WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. Enjoy being out and about this fall. Enjoy watching the games in person with your friends with confidence you haven't had in years. And you can do it with a trip to We Grow Hair Indy. 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
Hi, I'm Dallas, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. You know she loves her Shane Company engagement ring, but you also want to surprise her for her birthday, anniversary, or just because she deserves it. Why not get her a bigger diamond with our Easy Trade-Up program? We'll give you the full credit of your original natural diamond purchase toward a new one. Her new diamond only has to be $1 more. You only pay the difference. How's that for an easy trade-up? Visit us in-store or at shaneco.com. Because a friend wants you to win the gifting game. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Things are getting frighteningly good at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this weekend at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. Whether you're buying, selling, or trading, the best dealers in the region are creeping in for this haunted weekend of bargains. Admission is just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. But beware, you must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Doors creak open Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 9 to 3 at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you ready to build your custom dream home? Joyner Homes is ready to make your dream come true. Over 18 years, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, have built hundreds of homes in central Indiana, and the best place to start is joynerhomes.com. That's where you'll find pricing, photos of completed Joyner homes to inspire you, available home sites, and info on where you can visit their model homes and a lot more. Be sure to check out Joyner Homes' 5-star Google reviews. Get started today at joynerhomes.com.
Whole home protection of your water for what matters most. People, pets, plumbing, and appliances. The sale's on at C&J, and it's a good one. 317-733-SOFT.
Service. Veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at GotYour6.org.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, how a free speech group is referring to the firing of IU's Director of Student Media this week, a new rate proposal from AES, and how it looks to one Indy City County councilor. Plus, where rezoning has been approved for a church and a nonprofit for a housing project, and how the MLB postseason now stands heading into tonight with the Brewers and the Dodgers, along with the ALCS on the other side. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They keep blaming each other. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
They want the United States government to remain closed, and they seem not to care about the pain that it's causing.
House Speaker Mike Johnson on day 16 of the standoff ahead of another vote expected to fail in the Senate. President Trump and Republicans keep demanding a simple funding extension, no strings attached. But independent Senator Bernie Sanders tells a CNN town hall.
If Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse and tens of thousands of people could die every single year.
Democrats demand a provision to prevent looming cuts to Obamacare subsidies being a funding bill. The president's going to have another phone call today with Russian leader Vladimir Putin after their summit in Alaska in August has not led to the direct talks with Ukraine's leader to end the war like the president was hoping for. Instead, Fox's Chris Foster reports Russia keeps up the attacks.
Blackouts are reported in 8 regions of Ukraine. President Vladimir Zelensky says Russia fired more than 300 drones and 37 missiles overnight, conducting repeated strikes on the same targets to stop emergency crews and engineers from working to repair the power grid. Zelensky will be meeting with President Trump at the White House, asking for more military aid, including long-range Tomahawk missiles and more Patriot air defense systems.
That meeting is tomorrow. Hamas is asking for help locating the remains of 19 dead hostages. It still hasn't turned over as part of the Gaza ceasefire. It has handed over 9 bodies so far. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv on the funeral for one.
Deceased hostage Daniel Shimon Perez. Thousands gathered to pay their respects after being released only 2 days before. Former hostage Matan Angrest spoke at his commander's funeral.
Hi, everyone. I want to say that I can barely stand on my feet, and it is a privilege for me to speak here. It is the least I can do.
During the war in Gaza, Israel has also attacked Houthi rebels backed by Iran and Yemen, and today they announced an August strike killed a general who was the Houthis' chief of staff. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They're calling it a form of censorship. Mostly sunny, 62 on Monument Circle. 72 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Indiana University is stopping all print editions of the Indiana Daily Student after a clash over editorial control. Ryan Hedrick has more.
On Tuesday, the school told its student paper to cut out all news from its homecoming edition, and when the newsroom said no, the school fired media director Jim Rodenbush. Now, a free speech group says IU is not doing a great job of protecting journalists' rights.
IU is third from the bottom. This is not the first time that IU has targeted student speech.
Dominic Coletti with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression said student editors need more support. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
AES Indiana says they have reached a partial settlement in the regulatory rate review to reduce their proposed increase from $21 more a month on average to $10 more over 2 years if approved by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Indianapolis Council member Jesse Brown says AES shouldn't be seeking a rate increase at all.
25 of us unanimously last week just passed a resolution saying we call on AES to withdraw their rate case entirely and to get nothing. As far as I know, no city councilor was even communicated with. Hogsett just did this unilaterally.
Brown on WIBC's Kendall and Casey this week claimed Mayor Joe Hogsett cut a deal with the utility company, and it still hurts Hoosiers. Indianapolis is approving a plan to rezone an area on property belonging to Lyndhurst Baptist Church in order to build 10 duplexes for those without housing. Michelle Shelburne, founder and executive director of Sanctuary Indy, the nonprofit working with the church on the project, told Wish TV these homes will be for homeless individuals who are not sexual predators and have no violent criminal past.
We know that if there's any additional crime that comes, it comes because of the perpetrators on the individuals living in the community, not the tenants living in the community themselves.
The city's Department of Metropolitan Development approved of the rezoning for construction this week. Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle says last year rebounding was their Achilles heel. He thinks it'll be much better this year.
Well, the starting point has got to be hard physical play and rebounding, and the possession of the ball is going to be an an enormous factor.
The Pacers have one more preseason game against the Spurs tomorrow, then will open the regular season against the Thunder a week from today. The Blue Jays getting one back against the Mariners in the ALCS last night. Game 4 is tonight at 8:30, and the NLCS now shifts to L.A., where the Dodgers have a 2-0 series lead over the Brewers. Game 3 is tonight, first pitch just after 6. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
New opinion piece out in the Indy Star about Joe Hogsett and letting that wacky, goofy Thomas Carl Cook run Indianapolis, and it is excellent. 93 WIBC. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Jim Merritt in for Casey. Joined in studio by James Briggs. You're like the opinion head honcho over at Indy Star. Is that your actually...
The opinion czar. I think czar is a good word.
And look, this new piece is excellent. It's entitled, you can read it now over at IndyStar.com. Hogsett let Thomas Cook run Indianapolis. His legacy is imploding. And the latest revelations, obviously, are that Thomas Cook was involved in a relationship with this woman who was helping delegate incentive dollars to various businesses. And many of these businesses Thomas Cook ended up representing after he left the mayor's office. This is just so egregious that this was going on.
I think one of the things we really learned here, and this is sort of the point of my column that I wrote most recently, was that Thomas Cook's influence didn't just stop when he left the city in 2020. And again, for HR reasons. He left because it was found that he was in an inappropriate relationship, so he was forced to resign from the city in 2020. But I think this new reporting shows that his influence didn't stop there. It continued even as he existed sort of peripheral to city government. And I think that's like a new level to the problematic relationship that he had with the city that we're seeing right now.
It was interesting because we played earlier, Russ McQuaid from Fox 59 caught up with Hogsett somewhere, and his responses to Russ McQuaid, there appears to be a total lack of understanding of why this is a big deal, of why people are upset about this, and what even was taking place and why it was so inappropriate.
Yeah, and so one of the things I tried to do in this column that we're talking about is take a step back and show what I think the big picture problem is here, and it is that Mayor Joe Hogsett took office and sort of abdicated his role as leader of the city and sort of let Thomas Cook take over. And so we've been talking about Thomas Cook for over a year now, and he's still sort of an abstract figure. Yeah. I don't know that many people in your audience know anything about him or why we're talking about him. Do you mind if I take you down a little bit of a rabbit hole right now?
Yes, please. Go all the rabbit holes.
So... And I want to be clear at top. I don't mean this to say, you got to hand it to Thomas Cook. I don't want anyone to be my takeaway. But Thomas Cook was really good at his job. And I want to sort of set the scene for why he was so effective and why he was given this so much free reign over the mayor's office. Do you guys remember, and I'm sure you do at WIBC, when Jefferson Shreve was running for mayor in 2023 and he came out in favor of gun control?
Oh, yes. They called me the day before and said, please be nice to us. Yes, we remember that very well. I said, that's not going to fly.
So that was Thomas Cook. That happened because of Thomas Cook. So the mayor's campaign had a long-term strategy, and it was multi-pronged. First, the mayor introduced his own gun control measures, which were very popular among the electorate in Indianapolis, and that happened in May of 2023. At the same time, they were pounding Jefferson Shreve on his NRA affiliation, like just bludgeoning him. And by the way, this was told to me ahead of time that our point here, we're going to roll out some gun control proposals. We're going to hit Shreve on his NRA affiliation, and we're going to hurt him so badly that he is going to have to come out in favor of gun control. And
they just tell you that. They say, we're going to do this.
And my reaction to that at the time from hearing that was like, okay, whatever. Like the Republican candidate for mayor is going to come out in favor of gun control. Sure, whatever. And I mean, I'll be damned. It happened literally exactly as they planned it. It was, when Jefferson Shreve was standing up there talking about, saying things like assault-style rifles, a terminology that drives Republicans insane.
Right.
All I could think was that was Thomas Cook. He did that.
James Briggs from Indy Star is our guest. He's got a fabulous new piece out about Joe Hogsett, and he's basically giving free reign to Thomas Carl Cook. Jim.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a certain arrogance about this administration from day one. And we talked this morning about the AES situation with the rate case, and regardless of the ratepayer, they come out and kind of throw up the white flag with AES, and also this is very good reporting by yourself along with Mir, Indianapolis Star. It views almost the arrogance of, we're going to get through this time frame, this 6-minute media, and we're going to move on to the next topic. And his treatment of Russ McQuaid, who's a very good member, very quality, credible member of the news media, and these comments that he's giving, almost like flicking him away like a fly. You must feel that like on a daily basis with the mayor's office.
Yeah, obviously the mayor wants to move on from this, and I guess I'll go back to the point I was just hammering on. The reason he can't move on from this is because this just keeps coming up. There's a new revelation every few weeks or every few months, and sort of what I was talking about earlier is like because of the competency that Thomas Cook revealed in a number of areas, running campaigns, running city government, the mayor sort of entrusted him with everything and just let him run away with everything. And because that was the case, now the mayor is sort of stuck being responsible for all of these things that Thomas Cook did. So far, we don't know that the mayor is personally culpable for any ethical lapses, for any personal, inappropriate behavior. The mayor himself, none of this ties directly back to him. But because he just sort of ceded leadership to Thomas Cook and let him run away in all of these different areas of city government and campaigns, now this story won't go away. So the mayor, I'm sure, he wants it to go away. He doesn't want to talk to Russ McQuaid. He doesn't want to talk to anyone about to him, he would like this to just be old news. He's got, this is going to be a long 2 years, right? He's got a lot of time left in his third term. But these stories keep coming out, and it's because of all the things that Thomas Cook was unable to do under the mayor's, apparent leadership.
James Briggs from Indy Star is our guest. So you write a lot about people, and I think you write very well about people, and I think you sort of take angles on people that most people don't think about. That's why they read your columns. The Thomas Cook thing is fascinating to me because you're right. From a purely political perspective, the guy was really good at his job, yet he exhibited zero, apparently, self-control in terms of behaving in decent office society. And that's such a weird, dichotomy that on one hand, this guy is so good at this thing, but yet then can't do the most basic of stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, too, I think the political environment is a place where that's not all uncommon. We've had a lot of these types of stories, unfortunately, in Indiana and Indianapolis politics in the last several years, especially at the state level. There have been a lot of stories like this. So I would say what you're describing is it really does stick out, but it's also extremely common, in this and it's a lot of men sort of driving these things. And I'm sure Senator Merritt, you can sort of talk about the State House a little bit in that regard because there are a lot of stories that have been over there over the years, but this happens a lot in politics, unfortunately.
Jim, you ever yell at anybody for being inappropriate and say, Briggs is going to find out about this, you're going to get big trouble?
There were times my office was called the Woodshed, and we've had some members in my office when I was caucus chairman. We had to have a conversation about treatment of staff or treatment of fellow senators or people in the State House. So, yeah, it happens in every organization. No question about it.
And I suspect that's part of why the mayor's still thinking he can just move past this, too, because this level of behavior has been accepted for so long in so many different environments. And it's not acceptable right now. And I think the reporting just continues to show that what Thomas Cook was allowed to do under the mayor's watch was completely inappropriate. And the mayor should have known about it. If he didn't know about it, which he has said, then he should have known about it, and it should have been stopped. And that's why this keeps going on.
My story about Thomas Cook is when I was running for mayor and election morning came, and I got a text from Thomas Carl Cook, and he said, when you throw up the white flag at 6, this is the number you call.
Is that real?
Oh, absolutely. I was never so stunned at the. I was so surprised. And, it was
No,
really...
he literally said that when you throw up the white flag at 6, this is the number you call?
Yes, to get a hold of the mayor when you throw up the white flag, this is the number you should call.
And what did you do? You threw up the white flag, right?
I about threw up.
Is Hoxha going to run again?
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
There was a
he
period,
has nothing else to do. Nobody's going to employ him.
It's getting bad, I think. There was a period where I thought maybe he does because of what you're saying. I mean, I think he said before he wasn't going to run for a third term, then he did, and I think much of that can be attributed to the fact that he just doesn't have anything better to do. Yeah. Somebody really should have found him a job, a couple years ago. We could have avoided some of this at least the fallout.
Well,
certainly.
Let's see, I'm 66. He was a senior when I was a freshman, so he's heading towards 70.
I forget his age off the top of my head, but I mean, I interviewed him, years ago, and that was sort of his point about why he wasn't going to run for a third term from what he told me. He sort of did the math, like, here's the age I'll be, so no, I'm not interested in that. Well, then he did it. There was a time where I thought maybe he would run for a fourth term, but I don't see that at all right now.
Hey, real quick before I let you go, just off topic, but you broke the story that Bo Bai is running for Secretary of State, and I thought the piece was interesting. We're going to have him on tomorrow. Do you think he can do it? Can he break the Republican cabal in the state?
I think it's certainly possible. I mean, we're seeing right now he's fundraising at a really great pace, especially for a Democrat. I think, the odds are always against him. I said this in a different column. If I had to put money on it, my money would be no, he'll lose. But at the same time, I think Republicans keep doing unpopular things. I mean, this, one of the points of your show lately has been Republicans keep doing unpopular things. Right. And I think there is a point, whether it is months away or years away, there is a point when the electorate will get tired of that and they will sort of rebel against the party that just keeps sticking it down people's throats and saying, deal with it. People don't want to deal with it forever. So someday a Democrat is going to win in Indiana, and Bo Bai is, certainly the best near-term opportunity that Democrats have.
It's a great piece. Everybody go read it. Hogsett let Thomas Cook run Indianapolis. His legacy is imploding. James Briggs, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
This comes at a time where people are very concerned, and rightfully so, about skyrocketing utility rates. And BlackRock is in the money-making business. They're not in the better life for you business. Somebody better do something fast. Or if you think utility rates are bad now, get ready, pal.
No problem. You know how good the legislature is about passing bills for the residents.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Of all the times to buy a new Lincoln, right now is the very best time at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months on 2025 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, or Aviator. Plus get a $1,000 Tom Roush Trade Assist bonus. So come get that new Lincoln from Tom Roush Lincoln, where our family's been serving yours for over 53 years.
Subject to credit approval. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete offer details. Offer ends 10/31/2025.
Zillow ranking Indy number 2 among 2025's hottest markets. Home values have risen and are holding strong. Now is a great time to sell. Hire the team with proven systems to max your equity. I'm talking about real estate expert Mark Dietl. That's what Luke and Emma in Franklin did. They built their dream home. They needed to sell their old place to get the great price to pay for it. Mark Dietl made it easy. Multiple offers in the first weekend, closed in 25 days at the price they needed. Mark Dietl and his team came through big.
Mark Dietl is the best in the business, and he has the guarantee that backs it up. Mark Dietl is the only real estate agent that we recommend, and he guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price or deadline, or he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. That's what separates Mark Dietl. 755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel, markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Jim's Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Jim Scott is based in Clinton County, but they're now serving a larger area.
Boone County and Hamilton County, there are just not enough HVAC contractors in those areas to handle the demand. So we can offer a value for them because of our 5-star rating, family-owned, quality.
On the north side, just go to jimsheating-air.com for Jim's Heating and Air Conditioning, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Transform your backyard this fall with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor furniture set with their best stamped concrete patio package. Hurry, offer ends November 1st. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com for details.
All right, so we've been teasing this all show. You're here, Merritt, so I'm going to put your expertise to work. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Jim Merritt's in for Casey today. You are on this IURC nominating committee.
Correct.
That is the Indiana Utility Regulatory Committee, and there are going to be 3 vacancies on this committee.
Yes.
That will be the people who will decide whether utility rates go up going forward.
Correct.
And we've had some fun with it. We joked about Casey was going to apply for the thing,
right.
And blah, blah, blah. But I did want to take, in all seriousness, some opportunity while you're here, and we have, more than just your regular segment with us on Wednesdays, to sort of work through how this whole process works, because this is a massive deal for every Hoosier, whether you live in Indianapolis or you live in Petersburg or Attica or, Greenwood or wherever, because wherever you live, you have a utility that is providing power to you and gas and et cetera, and these people you nominate, and if the governor accepts them, will be the people who decide whether your rates go up. So I thought we'd just kind of work through a high level how this process works and help people understand, exactly what's going on.
And not put people to sleep while we're talking about it.
That's what we do. Jim's
Yes.
like, how are we going to do this to make it entertaining? I said, you got me, Jim. It'll be entertaining. It'll be
The
fun.
meat and potatoes of this is that the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, is made up of 5 commissioners. One is Chairman Houston, who is retiring in December. 2.
That's the guy what runs the meetings.
Yes, he's the chairman.
Okay.
He administrates.
It's sort of like the Supreme Court, where when John Roberts got nominated to the Supreme Court under George Bush, he was not only nominated to the Supreme Court, but to be the Chief Justice.
That's exactly
okay.
right.
So
and the governor is in that position with the chairman.
So whoever you nominate for chairman is who the chairman's going to be.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And Wes Bennett, who is retiring, is a commissioner. Commissioner Freeman, who and these are Republicans and Democrats. So and it's very confusing, but there have to be both parties represented on the commission.
Okay, so of these 3 seats, and this is important because the way the thing is structured, you have to have so many Democrats, so many Republicans, right? So I think it's like 3 and 2, 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So one of these people you nominate has to be a Democrat.
Correct.
And one of them who you nominate has to be a Republican.
Yes.
And then the chairman is its own separate thing. So I want to just focus on the 2 rank and file people you're
right,
going
and those
to.
rank and file are going to be decided this month.
Yeah. So let's just say now. Where would I fit? Because I'm apparently not a Republican in good standing. You may have heard about this. Would I fit as a Republican or a Democrat?
Well, it all depends if you voted in the primary.
I have. I voted in all the primaries.
And did you vote Republican?
I did vote in the
Republican. Well, you'll be considered a Republican then.
Okay, very good.
And that's and I think it needs to be not all Republican, not all Democrat. Most states, not most states, there are a large majority of states that actually vote. These are elected positions that are in other states, so people run on low energy rates in other states.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think the IURC, and it's since 1991 when I entered the Senate, it really has evolved into almost like a judicial position where you have to be a judge. It takes a lot of reading. It takes a lot of I call it the cave, because you're really not public. I would not be a good member because I like being on shows like this and being out in public. But people retiring are good people. This nominating commission, what we do is we come forward and we have hearings. And this is all transparent. This is all online. You can watch every interview, and we will interview.
You can watch the interviews.
Yes, you can. Yes, it's all transparent. And
well, now I really would have applied if I'd have known I could have got an interview
Well, there will
that
be
everybody see.
There will be an executive session on Monday, this coming Monday. That is not this executive session that is behind closed doors, but all the interviews are online. You can watch them.
So real quick, so you got these applications, all these people, the window is closed, all these people sent you applications, and then what? You guys kind of have a closed door debate on who do we want to interview, and then,
yes,
and then that goes out publicly.
And I stepped away from the Senate in 2020, and I was nominated. Senator Bray, the president of the Senate, I'm his selection to be on this nominating committee. Each member of the House caucus and Senate caucuses have a nominee along with the governor, and so this is from every corner, people on this nominating commission, and so we will decide who we're gonna interview. And in years past,
how many people do you normally interview? It's like 5.
Well, in years past, we've had to pull people off the street virtually.
I bet they didn't know this job paid $150 grand.
No, and it doesn't, and it's so quiet, and it should be quiet because utility rates are very important, and you need to be judicious in the way you select these people and the way these people serve. And so you're under a rock when you're a commissioner.
Okay, so how are you going to square this? Because the governor, who will make the final call, right? Just because you nominate somebody, the governor can say, nope, don't like that person.
Right.
Yeah, go back and do it again, right?
Yes, we'll nominate several people for each spot in what you call the rank and file, those two, and then we'll send those nominations to the governor.
So, like, if you put Rob Kendall's name down as the Republican, you would be told you're going to need to do this again, right? So he doesn't have to take who you suggest.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. Our friend Erin Sheridan said she's going to apply.
Oh.
And I don't know if she actually did or not, but I'll talk to anybody. You know this.
Yeah.
I talk to you. And I'll talk.
Yeah, very well done. Yeah, very good.
I'll talk to Jesse.
Yeah.
But I encourage. The deadline's gone by, but when it was open, I encourage anybody to apply, including Casey.
Can I have an extended filing window? It's like my taxes.
If I were chairman, then yes, but I'm not chairman of the nominating commission.
You should probably walk in there and go, my friend, say it exactly like this. My friend Rob Kendall would like to apply. Can we give him a courtesy window?
Abdul, too.
Yeah. It'll go over great. Okay, so how are you going to square? Because Braun seems to have given very specific, basically, instructions that he wants somebody who is not going to raise utility rates. I mean, at least that's sort of what it seemed like from the stuff he's been saying. I think a reasonable person.
Well, he named a new consumer counselor.
Right.
And one of the instructions was that he doesn't like rate increases.
Look, and I think part of the struggle is that every so often you may need to raise rates. However, the rate increases have gotten so out of control and so frequent that now the people are out with the pitchforks and the long knives, right? So how do you square that with what you having, some level of expertise, background in this, or what you think might need to happen versus sort of the public sentiment, but two, the very what appear to be clear instructions from the governor? How do you guys square that?
Well, as you know, I've met with some of the people that are candidates, and I've had conversations over the phone. I'm an open book about this. What I tell people is this entity. If you like media, this is not a job for you. You've got to be independent. You've got to be well read. You've got to have interest in the minutia, and you've got to understand detail. You've got to understand rates. You've got to understand people. You've got to have judicious manner about you. You have got to be completely immersed in this very, very important job. And regardless of what Joe Hogsett's doing at the City County building with AES, you've got to keep your eye on the ball on exactly what's good for the ratepayer, what's good for the utility, and understand that you've got industrial, you've got commercial, and you've got residential. And they all have to not be happy, but respect and understand your decisions.
Is it a pretty quick time frame, like from when you guys decide to interview people? Will it be named pretty fast?
I think the governor, energy is something that I tell Secretary Susie Jaworowski this all the time. Energy is this administration now.
Wait, real quick, because you brought her up. Does she regret going to that dinner and basically, or lunch, and basically saying that these companies should sue municipalities.
We don't talk about that. What we talk about is really the future of energy, and she knows how much I'm appreciative of the fact that nuclear has to be a part of that energy. But what we talk about is the idea that we need great individuals who are willing to put their nose to the grindstone and be independent, but understanding that hopefully the Trump administration takes kind of the federal push on rates down with all the environmental minutia that utilities have to go through, and we're getting into the swamp here with issues. But bottom line is that these individuals who we nominate, that we send to the governor, understand that rates are important, but as well as the energy world is changing, and the Braun people are trying to bring the real world to Indiana with different kinds of energy that is going to power this future of Indiana.
See, that wasn't boring at all.
We tried.
I mean, at least not to me.
Well, I hope our listeners, maybe you'll have me back, maybe not. But anyway, it is interesting because you get your utility bill every month.
Yeah,
and
I'm blaming you going forward.
This is important to you.
Now that I know you're on that commission, if anybody raises my rate, I'm blaming you. I'm sending it to your house.
Well,
I know where you live.
We'll have to have Hammer on again so we can cuss each other out.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, obviously redistricting is a huge issue right now in Indiana, and there is a case in front of the Supreme Court that could affect everything. And one of the Supreme Court justices in the oral arguments said maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We'll talk all about that next. It'll make sense. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's seeking help from the Hoosier State. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. White House border czar Tom Homan is calling on Indiana lawmakers to pass new legislation that helps the federal government in their immigration enforcement efforts.
Whatever you can do, state of Indiana, to help us make Indiana safer. I'm not saying every little alien is a public safety threat, but many are. Help us, because every public safety threat we remove from this country makes your neighborhood safer.
He spoke at an event hosted by Attorney General Todd Rokita at the State House Tuesday. Governor Mike Braun was also in attendance. Indiana State Police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide in Santa Claus from Tuesday. Police say the woman shot and killed her husband before dying later from a gunshot wound. And Johnson County Coroner Mike Pruitt is out of jail after posting his $3,000 bond. He turned himself in Tuesday and is facing multiple charges relating to inappropriate activity with teenage girls. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Well, the Fed just sounded the alarm. The stock market is dangerously overvalued. And if your retirement savings are tied up in the market, this could be the smart time to protect and grow your savings outside of Wall Street. Hey, one option gives you a 20% upfront bonus. It's got a competitive return that's averaged 10% annually for the last 10 years.
So here's the simple math. If you invest $200,000, you get an upfront $40,000 bonus. That's $240,000. That $240,000 could earn 10% or $24,000 in the first 12 months. So, in the first year, that original $200,000 could grow to $264,000. Get all the information from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. Call 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120. 648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Football season's back, so it's time for our annual Sit, Sleep, and Eat sale. Lowest prices of the year on all Lazy Boy, Flex Steel, and Smith Brothers. Save up to $800 on mattresses by Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and King Coil. And save up to $400 on the Big Green Egg. Free delivery, interest-free financing. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler's workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come check us out at your nearby store. Our engagement rings are made with love from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Okay, so there is a case in front of the Supreme Court. They heard oral arguments on it the other day, and the outcome of this case will dramatically affect redistricting, which is obviously in front of us here in the state of Indiana going forward. And now, look, it'll take these justices. Jim Merritt's in for Casey today, by the way. Normally, they don't rule on the big stuff, which this is a big one, usually until June. They want to get that right as they're leaving the parking lot,
That's
right?
when all the decisions are announced.
Yeah. So
unless it's an October decision.
Well, yeah, and obviously these justices can rule at any time. They can come out tomorrow if they wanted to, but usually they save them till the end. The biggest cases are into June, and so this may not affect what Indiana's doing right now because they won't have ruled on it. But going forward, so this is going to have a profound impact on how these lines are drawn, and then the next opportunity, because what is in front of the court is a Louisiana map. So Louisiana drew their map same way every other state did, and a court struck down their map. I'm trying to simplify a very complex thing here, but basically the courts ruled that essentially Louisiana's map disenfranchised minority voters by drawing one of their reps or certain communities, carving up communities to take away a majority black district, basically is what they did. And the court said, based on the Voting Rights Act, you can't do that, and you cannot disenfranchise communities of color, which is essentially what Indiana would be doing under this new map, where they would take Marion County, which is a large African-American population, and they would be carving that up into several districts to take away that voting power, which tends to be Democrat, which is the big thing that a lot of people are saying. As of right now, if you were to go forward with that, it would get struck down based on what the law is, and you can't do that. It would be clear that's what the Republicans would be doing, and the court is hearing whether that's constitutional or not to force communities of color to stay intact, minority African-American communities to stay intact, or whether that can be struck down. And based on the arguments, now you never know how the judge is going to rule, but based on the statements by the judges the other day, it seems like they're open to striking this thing down, which would dramatically change how congressional districts are drawn.
Oh, yes, and this has an incredible impact. And I think what you're going to see is this is going to happen in June, but the Indiana General Assembly, in the Trump administration's viewpoint, and people in the Assembly itself believe that they have to do it now. And on State House Happenings the other day, Abdul, one of our tri-host, co-host, said that he doesn't know, it's a maybe and all that, but also that if they do pass maps, that a court will strike them down. And there's some kernel of truth there that maybe, just maybe, the legislature will go into special session. I think they will. I think they will redraw maps, and they're not going to have the data. They may not tackle Marion County. They're going to tackle Northwest Indiana with Congressman Frank Mervan Jr., a Democrat, and try to do that. But you've got to take some from Representative Yakim's district. You've got to take some from Representative Baird's district. It is just, it's like mercury. It's very difficult to redistrict on the run, and that's what they're going to do.
So, all of that being said, there are 3 liberal justices on the Supreme Court, and I sort of separate them based on Elena Kagan was, I believe, the Solicitor General under Barack Obama. And I don't agree with her judicial philosophy a lot of times. I don't agree with her rulings a lot of times. But she always seems like a very calm, learned person in her rulings, where like, okay, I don't agree with that, but you've clearly thought this through from a judicial perspective. You don't come off as being political on this. And I kind of felt guys like Breyer were that way beforehand. And so I separate her. The other 2, Sotomayor and now this Ketanji Brown Jackson woman, they are total partisans. They are complete hacks, and they are idiots. I mean, they are. And Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was the woman appointed under Obama, is by far the worst. She's getting lectured by Sotomayor, who's like, lady, I'm a total partisan, and you're making us look bad. I mean, Ketanji Brown Jackson not only is an awful justice, she just comes off as a complete moron.
Yeah, there's no reason. And I think that one of the largest, the ideas behind a justice has to be reason, and it has to be freedom, it has to be constitutional, and she does not impress whatsoever.
Okay, so here's the audio from Ketanji Brown Jackson, and this is her saying, basically comparing black people to disabled people by trying to say that majority black districts are equivalent of disabled people not being able to enter buildings before the Americans with Disabilities Act. Listen to this, Jim.
A kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled.
I'm having a hard time getting my head around that.
If you were saying that black people weren't allowed to vote, then okay. But black people, no matter what the district makeup is, are certainly able to vote the same way anybody else is. The issue with the Americans with Disabilities Act is the people physically couldn't access the buildings or the sidewalks or whatever, which is understandable. That's not even close to being the same thing. And she said this out loud as a sitting member of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine would say that's apples and dump trucks. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And this is not the first time that she has voiced a whole idea of not understanding or able to give her opinion on it. It is very confusing, and it's hard to believe she's a Supreme Court justice.
It is scary beyond
scary
belief.
Is probably a good word.
I mean,
these people are making big decisions.
So if you read the tea leaves out of this case, now again, the court can do whatever it's going to do, and this court has previously decided, like Alabama had maps a couple of years ago that they struck down. However, based on the comments yesterday, Roberts and Kavanaugh are the two key ones on this issue. They seemed very much in favor of allowing to essentially striking down this rule about you got to draw minority dominant districts, and it's going to really change how districts get drawn going forward. Now, again, it won't really affect Indiana right now because you got to wait for the ruling on this, but they certainly seemed open. And look, they kind of made the argument, which is logical. They said, well, if we're striking down affirmative action these college campuses, and you got to admit people based on or preferential treatment based on race or whatever. If we're striking that down, how do we, in good faith, then say you got to draw a congressional district based on having a black representative? Like, that's basically, and it makes sense.
It does make sense, and there's something called the brick wall, which is out in Iowa, where they just form the districts, and it looks like a brick wall, whereas Illinois looks like a Rorschach test, and there's got to be a way that you can draw the districts that is fair to all parties and represents data where people move. And that's really the idea. When I took over as a state senator in 1991, they redrew the districts because in 1980, Fishers barely existed. In 1991, it was incredibly, there were only 3 precincts when I was elected in 1990. In 1991, the growth in Fishers had grown so much in those 11 years, they had to take it out of my district. And so that growth, you have to recognize growth and movement of people, so that, for instance, the Indiana Senate district had to be 130,000 people. A congressional district should be 500,000 people. It has to be, it has to be adjacent. There has to be some reason to districts, and we'll see what the what the Supreme Court comes up with.
All right, let's take a break. Yesterday, the Treasury Secretary put an estimate on what the shutdown is costing the U.S. economy. Each day we'll have some audio on that. Plus, Jim, you're over 60, so it could be bad news for you. We'll go on a high note. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show back at it this afternoon. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall is going to flip out and go off the rails. Jim, the dude, he's in with me this afternoon. Let's have a good time.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead and pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else, or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of, why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal. Like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that will cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery at the corner of 30th and Shadeland, or the newest location off 86th and Ditch Road. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place, your place for lunch. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
America respects our first responders and veterans, the brave whose business is taking action when calamity strikes. It's dangerous work, often surrounded by sirens, shouting, even gunfire, so hearing loss is probable. First responders can turn to Relay Indiana. If you have trouble hearing on the telephone, visit RelayIndiana.com for voice recognition technology phones that allow the hearing impaired to have normal phone conversations. And there's loaned equipment for those who qualify. Get clarity back on the phone. Visit RelayIndiana.com.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Of all the times to buy new Lincoln, right now is the very best time at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months on 2025 Lincoln Corsair, Nautilus, or Aviator. Plus get a $1,000 Tom Roush Trade Assist bonus. So come get that new Lincoln from Tom Roush Lincoln, where our family's been serving yours for over 53 years.
Subject to credit approval. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete offer details. Offer ends 10/31/2025.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text Tamara and Nigel to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
Head online to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra Thursday, December 4th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Okay, so the Treasury Secretary has an estimate on how much the shutdown is going to cost the U.S. economy each day. Let's fire it up. This is Scott Bessent. He is the Treasury Secretary yesterday talking about the economic impact to the U.S. economy.
Thank you all for being here at Treasury today in the midst of this shutdown. We call on the moderate Democrats in the Senate to be heroes. Be heroes. Break away from the hive of radicalism and do something for the American people, because we are starting to cut into muscle here. We believe that the shutdown may start costing the U.S. economy up to $15 billion a day, and this is a decision the Democrats are making. And one of the reasons that they are not being held to task is because the mainstream media is not coming at them the way they would have if the Republicans were willing to keep the government closed. It is a very simple decision. Mike Johnson passed a clean CR. Leader Thune has the clean CR. 3 Democrats have voted for it. And right here, right now, I am calling for the moderate Democrats to be heroes, and reopen the government for the American people.
I don't know if it makes you a hero for approving Biden-level spending. But look, the Democrats, I am curious what the end game is for both sides. I will say, look, I'm not impressed that the Republicans have approved Biden-level spending. I am impressed that they have held it together this long, though, and I figured they would have caved by now.
I think it is impressive that they have, and they've tried to find different avenues to pay the military and fulfill the SNAP requirements, and something that you need to have a budget or to have, the general fund of the United States pay for. And it's impressive. I don't know what the end game is for the Democrats. What is the linchpin? Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana said one time that he thinks that maybe 5 or 6 Democrats will get a call from Schumer and say, hey, break away from me. I'm going to crown you about it, and I won't vote with you, but we need to get this back on track because this is hurting our constituencies.
Hey, real quick, Jim, I wanted to end the show on some interesting news. Now, bad news for you because you're just a pinch over 60 years old. But according to study finds,
I'm a punch over 60.
Here's the headline. People hit their functional peak around 60.
Yeah. Well,
So sorry for you. But me, my best days are
I'm
still
an
on the horizon.
anomaly. Let's just say that.
So what this basically factored in is, hey, a lot of people think when you're younger, you're in better shape to blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But when you factor everything in, so this was an Australian study. It was like a composite index spanning 9 core constructs. When they put all of them together, they said that your peak age is 60 years old.
Yeah, well,
Do you remember 60?
Yes, I'm 66, and maybe talk to me when I'm 75 because I've got so much energy. I'm ready to go. I'd be on here every day with you. Casey does a good job.
It is interesting the things that we learn about like ourselves. I'm saying ourselves as a humanity, as ourselves as people, as we get older. And I do think there is, the 70 is the new 60. I do think, and it is because people have been living longer, medicine, better, nutrients, whatever. I do think that aging has changed, and I do think that getting old or getting older is not what it used to be. And I do think
you got a 79-year-old president.
That's right.
Who's running circles around his staff and doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't smoke. He's taking relatively good care of himself and has these long flights, comes back and it looks like fresh as a daisy out in the rose garden. And that's a good example of people doing well in their older.
Here's a good one. Personality also matures with age. Conscientiousness and emotional stability, the two traits most strongly linked to career success and life satisfaction, both increase from early adulthood into the 50s and 60s.
Well, Joe Hogg sits older than I am, and that's not the case with some.
Well, I didn't say everybody, Jim.
Okay.
It's just an average. It's a composite of the collective.
Okay.
All right, Jim, fabulous job. Thank you today. Your insight is so valuable. Those 30 years in the Indiana Senate, nobody knows state government like you, and I love filling in. Love when you fill in. Thank you, my friend.
See you Wednesday.
All right, we will be back tomorrow. Big show tomorrow. Bo Bai will be here with us. Jim, thank you to you. Kevin, great job as always. And most importantly, thank you to you, the listener. Without you, there is no us. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. BOOHER.